me. What's up, duelists? What's up, duelists? What's up, duelists? What's up, duelists? Welcome to the stream. Let me just post that I'm live real quick and we can get underway. Today I have a lot to cover. And I mean a lot to cover today. So we're going to be getting that going. Getting that going pretty shortly here. How are you guys doing today? What are you guys up to? If you're watching the VOD of this, today was a good day. What's up, Ryan? Today was a good day. I got the idea for this stream from something kind of silly. I'll show you guys in a second. But let's wait till everyone's in here. I'm going to post that I am now live. What's up, Nim Nim? How you doing? Enraged Peacock says, when are we getting this honest and Valiant Smashers? So the next set, they announced that there's going to be a collector's rare honest. Sadly, even though there is a Christia in the set, we're not getting a collector's rare Christia. Why? No reason. No fucking reason whatsoever. But we're getting a collector's rare honest. He said it'll be like $100. If the other Edison format collector's rares are anything to look at, it'll probably be like $30. No collector's rare Christia Madge? Yes, I agree. It's really stupid. I wanted the collector's rare Christia. I think my biggest speculation is that there's never been an OCG collector's rare that's also a TCG collector's rare. So because Christia's in the OCG as a collector's rare, they're probably waiting for the Rarity Collection 2 to drop the Christia. But it's just really stupid that they would include it in this set at all if they weren't going to drop the collector's rare. Like, it's just dumb. It's like, okay, if that's the case, then don't include it in this set at all. You know? Like, just put a different card and have honest in this set. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need Christia reprints. There's a common Christia already that's like less than $1, so yeah. You're about to splurge on max rarity values. You've been converted to be a Blackwing lover. That's crazy. I think that deck is miserably bad. But we'll get into it today. What's up, Edison format Italia? Little reminder that on the 26th you are having a big tournament with prizes. Almost 70 people are already pre-registered. If you live in Italy, check out Edison format Italia and go check out their tournament that they are hosting. IRL tournament, massive tournament for Italy. Go hang out. Go play with the other Italian boys if you're in the Italy area on the 26th. That's American Thanksgiving, so a lot of the US viewers will be doing Thanksgiving weekend and stuff. So, yeah, but shout out to Edison format Italia for all their support and for everything they do for the Edison scene. Today we're doing something a little bit special. Enraged Peacock says we still need the value emote. I actually have so Sevilla is working on a custom value emote for the channel. So that's coming soon. Enraged Peacock. It's coming very soon. But it is currently in commission. I've commissioned Sevilla to make some emotes for me. And yeah, it should be really cool. Shout out to Sevilla for the designs. We need Edison format Germany. We're going to get into that here in a second. In a second, there's actually this tournament that we'll talk about in a second that happened. But I'm basically, so here's a plan for the stream. If you're with me right now, we got about 27 people with us. The man says, do I need them before the 16th? Yes, I do, the man. I do need them before, I need them ideally before next weekend. Yes. Sevilla is goated? Yes, true. Sevilla's made a lot of the most powerful emotes in the, you get the idea. It's for the everything. I don't know what to say. Sevilla's made the most powerful emotes. All right. We're getting into it. So today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be going, when is RBET Rulers? It's this Saturday. Gage. It is this Saturday. So that's why I'm going over all of the deck lists that have topped RBET today, so that we can kind of get an idea of what things are looking like. We're going to start things off with a little bit of a recap. Well, this whole stream's a recap, but a little bit of recap of last season. And we're going to check out RBET rulers from last season and see what topped last season. We're also going to look at the other events this year that maybe you guys aren't aware of that were RBET qualifiers. There was an RBET qualifier in Italy. There was the first deck devastators of this year was an RBET qualifying event. So there's a lot of events. Yo, thank you for becoming a member, Joseph S. Enjoy the new emotes. There's even more coming shortly. Sevilla is currently designing some, which is super tight. I'm excited for the custom Sevilla emotes. I know Sevilla is going to do a much better job at designing emotes than I have in the past, so I'm excited for that. But right now we're just talking about this collector's rare honest that's about to drop in Valiant Smashers. I feel like it's a cool way to start off the stream. Talk about the Treeborn Pog is great. That's a good one. Okay, let's do a little bit of a recap. Let's talk about RBET rulers last year. So I have all the lists pulled up, basically. I have all the lists. Look, we got all of them. So we're going to talk about RBET rulers, top 8. We're going to talk about Deck Devastators 3, which was the first Deck Devastators of this year. We got the Karlsruhe tournament in Germany. We got the RBET Season 1, or RBET 1 Season 2, RBET 2 Season 2, RBET Fullerton, which was at Card Addiction. We had the Edison Italia Championship, which was an RBET qualifying tournament. We have the RBET 3 Season 2. We have the RBET Moreno Valley, RBET 4 Season 2, and then RBET Orlando, which is going to be the last qualifying event of this season, I believe. So we're going to be going through all of the top 8s. We're going to be looking at all of the deck lists, hopefully checking them all out, getting a vibe. Hopefully this doesn't crash my computer. I do have 18 million tabs open right now, but we shall see. I'm also not getting live chat. Hold up. I got to switch so we're getting live chat. Yo. I just got live chat. The man says, you're talking to your buddy Carlos. You got top 16. No, only top 8 got invites, the man. Only top 8 at these tournaments got invites. Only the best of the best got invites at this tournament. That's all I'm saying. Also, that's the vibe. That's the vibe. Yo. If you're in chat, if you're with me right now, if you're ready to get started, press 1. And if you think we should talk about anything else, tell me that before we get started. But if you're with me right now and you're ready to get started going through this, press 1. 1. Okay. We got 3 ones. We got a couple ones. You guys ready to start getting underway? All right, let's start with the recap. We had RBET rulers last year. Goated tournament. Obviously the best of the best. Hold up. We're just going to close a tab close a couple of tabs so that maybe I can free up some CPU. Okay, cool. Let's see if that helps a little bit. Cool. RBET rulers last year. So this was last year's top 8. We had zombies, Diva Zombies. Looking at this list, is there anything special about this list? It was playing the Future Fusion. This is Silchus Ruins list from RBET rulers last year. He made it to top 8. He was at 7th place. There's 2 7th place lists in double elimination. This weekend's tournament is also going to be double elimination. That way there's no fucking bullshit draws. There's no time issues. It's just every player, the best player you've ever seen, finishing out full matches. The winner wins and the loser loses. That's why we're doing double elimination this weekend. Future Fusion for the Diva part of the deck, for the malicious part of the deck, so he could armory arm Colossal OTK people. Also so he could send Mizuki, just an additional foolish for his Mizuki. This type of list we haven't seen a lot of this year. I feel like Silchus Ruin pioneered this list at the end of last year, and this year we haven't really seen it do all that much. I think part of the reason we haven't seen so much of this list this year is because people have moved more towards like the Miracle focus lists, like the Miracle Diva Hero lists, and they've played less of the Book of Life zombie type lists. I do think the Book of Life zombie type lists are really good, and I think Book of Life is well, we'll get into it in the later events. I think Book of Life is a crazy Yu-Gi-Oh card, like especially in Edison format when everyone's trying to set up their graveyard, set up their deck, set up their they're trying to set up these crazy grave synergies. I think Book of Life is really good. So not surprised to see Silch's top with something that has Future Fusion in it. He's a big diva hero type player, so it's cool to see him with the top 8 there. He was kind of crushing last year. He had the year of a lifetime last year. The next top 8 list from last year's RBET Rulers is Beast Mode's Diva Zombie deck list. Now, Beast Mode also had the season of a lifetime last year. This year, he's been obviously focusing a lot on content creation and starting his family or having a new baby. So, once again, congratulations to Beast Mode for crushing it in Edison, but more so for having a kid. Like, that's just awesome. And it was really cool to watch him perform last year. He topped with, I believe, Quick Draw and Diva Zombies and a couple of different decks last year. A lot of cool synchro decks. He's definitely one of the strongest players at playing these synchro decks. I've seen him succeed with a lot of cool stuff. And his list looks very, very similar to the stuff we see this year. He does have that cool Necrogarden tech. I actually really like Necrogarden on zombies because sometimes you just make Bryonic, and like having that Necrogarden to defend your Bryonic or being able to pitch Necrogarden off Zombie Master or Tragodia or something like that is just really cool. Like, it's just a strong effect in the zombie deck. So I think that was a cool card for him to have. He also had that Illblood tech. This guy kind of fell out of favor. He's also a super wholesome guy. Yeah, for sure. Beast Mode's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I actually had the pleasure of meeting him at an IRL RBET this year. We'll get into that in a second because he definitely did have a top this year. He had the top that got him his invite. Just really cool guy. Shout out Beast Mode. And really solid deck list from last year's RBET Rulers. I was not surprised to see him top. I believe he topped 3 of the RBETs last year, which is just one of the most consistent players. By far, bar none, is Beast Mode. Definitely more consistent than most of the players we've seen even this year in this season. All right, next top 8 deck list in RBET Rulers last year was... We're just recapping this, kind of looking at how the end of last year was before we get into the more recent years. This was Mumix's 5th place Christia Sworn deck list. This was the first time we had ever seen this deck list, this type of Christia Sworn list. Now, if we flashback all the way to Shonen Jump Edison 2010, Christia Sworn did top 32, the Shonen Jump Championship, in the hands of Feng Shui, a really powerful player. We'll get into him a little bit later, obviously. But this was the first time we'd ever seen a list this modernized. This was like all starters, all finishers, no fluff, no staple good cards, no anything, just all starters and all finishers. And he made it all the way to 5th place at RBET Rulers. I think part of the success of this deck was that nobody knew about it. Nobody knew what it was trying to do. Everybody thought it was like the more traditional Lightsworn deck, and they played against it like you would play against a traditional Lightsworn deck. When you know this deck list, you can identify some really easy holes, right? Like, you can identify some really easy weaknesses. But when you don't know this deck list, and you're playing against it for the first time, this deck list was deadly. And that information was so good for Mumix. Mumix is also a very high-ranked GOAT format player. He plays under the name of Smoker in GOAT format, and he's topped, like, I want to say a ton of GOAT format. I've seen his name in a lot of different tops, so he's just a really good player, too, on top of that. But this is just a fantastic list, and it was really cool to see it for the first time, which is why I'm so excited for RBET Rulers this weekend, is because last year there were so many like innovative and forward-thinking decks that made it all the way to the top 8, because when you're playing against the best players in the world, and I mean the best players in the world, these are the players who have topped the biggest tournaments all year, then you have to have the sauce if you want to make it to the top 8 or win. You have to have a unique, powerful deck list. Like you have to have like some sort of tech, some sort of like hidden synergy. You have to have that information game to get an edge on them. And Mumix definitely had it. Now, that's why I'm really excited for this weekend, because we're gonna see some really new shit. I'm like for sure of it. The next deck list that got top 8 was this Swedish Blackwings from Masahiro. Double Nobleman of Extermination, triple Upstart Goblin, very light trap lineup, double Dark Greffer, 2 Bora. Definitely more of the Swedish J4 style Blackwing deck. One of the most aggressive Blackwing decks in the format, because you have the starter of Shura plus Whirlwind, but you also have the starter of Greffer plus Sirocco or Greffer plus Vayu. So you have 5 really insane aggressive starts. And then when you have the double Nobleman, Space Typhoon, Heavy Storm, you have 4 cards that just let you play through back row with triple Icarus. So you have like 7 cards that let you play through heavy back row. Against all the players who were playing Blackwings, against all the players who were playing that type of stuff, it was really innovative and really good to have that many like proactive back row clears for going second, which was super sick. Yeah. Leonardo says the Edison format in your nearby area is flourishing and you're stuck working the 300 unpaid hours. Mandatory in Italy if you want a degree. I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds like literal slave labor. Hopefully when you're done with that, it'll still be popping. And if you're done by next year, then I'm pretty sure it'll still be popping, because RBET is just about to get huge for next year. And I'll talk about that at the end of this. Well, right now we're recapping the RBET rulers. Masahiro's deck list is really cool. I think he got his invite again this year, Masahiro. If I remember correctly, I was inputting some of the players who had their invites. I believe he got his invite again this year. But a really sweet deck list, really aggressive Blackwing deck list. All right, next deck list that we saw was this Dimitri, who got 3rd place last year at Rulers, the Symbols of Heritage Frog combo deck. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think anyone but Dimitri could play this deck. I legit don't think there is a single player in the world who could play this deck but Dimitri. Not only is he like one of the best technical players in the world, in my opinion, but he also like is very fast. And this type of deck, there is a time rule in the RBET tournaments that if you go 15 minutes unanswered in your turn, you get a game loss because it's considered stalling. So basically, he has to execute this ridiculous 4 horseman style combo in under 15 minutes. And in order to do that, you have to be so technically fast. You have to be like literally, what is the fucking, it's like StarCraft level execution, basically. This is not the same person. This is Dimitri. This is not also Frog Slicer's list. This is Dimitri's list. Dimitri made a lot of innovations on this deck and came up on this list. I think this list is significantly better than the original Frog Slicer list for obvious reasons. And this is the last time this deck topped. This deck has not topped since then. So not only did he have to play out of his mind, but I think he had some insane bracket luck, if I remember correctly. But once again, you do have to be pretty lucky to top these tournaments. There's a lot of great players, RBET rulers especially. Like, if you told me any one of the players in RBET rulers was going to win tomorrow, I would not be surprised. Like, that's just how good the competition is in this specific invitational. And this is last year's 3rd place deck list. The 2nd place deck list was actually the first time we had ever seen Diva Hero beat. This was the first time we'd ever seen Diva Hero beat. And I don't know who the fuck let Indikid get 2nd place, because I'm going to be honest, like I said 5 seconds ago, I would not be surprised if anyone won RBET rulers. I would actually be surprised if Indikid won RBET rulers. Fucking Canadian motherfucker. I'm telling you guys right now, Indikid, he could not win a tournament. I'll just say it. I'll just say it. Even though he has won tournaments, I'm saying it right now, Indikid could never win a tournament. Even though he's one of the best players, he's one of the worst players. You know what I'm saying? People are like, who disliked this video last year? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's people, maybe they got it recommended. They didn't like Edison. I don't know. I don't know who would have disliked it, but that's what's up. I liked it. You got to like your own videos sometimes. You're like, damn, I cooked with this one. But yeah, Indikid made it to 2nd place. And this is, I think, the last good finish for this deck out of all of the RBET tournaments we're about to look at. But yeah, you know what? Hey, Indikid, I don't know who let him top. They fucked up letting him top. And then, of course, 1st place from last year was ProStorm's Fairy deck list, which is obviously one of my favorite decks. ProStorm cooked. He was the first, or one of the first players to innovate using Legacy of Yatagarasu in a deck. He also used my technology of Mind Control plus Cyber Valley, which crushed for him throughout the tournament. There was a bunch of other stuff he played. He played the Freed as his method of grave control. He played Breaker plus Compulsory in the side, which is something I recommended to him right before the tournament, and he said it was amazing. Nowadays, we'd be playing 3 Breaker, but yeah, he did at least have the 1 Breaker, which helped him out in a lot of his matches. You can actually watch all of his matches with both his and my commentary on my channel right here. If you go to the RBET playlist on my channel, you can watch every single one of his matches from the tournament. He beat like 3 RBET winners and like Indikid. You know what I mean? Like, obviously he got an easy finals because he got matched up against Indikid, but let's be real. Yeah, so this was a really cool RBET rulers. One of the most interesting ones for sure. Only 1 Blackwing in top 8, 0 Fayu Turbo in top 8. I think when you have a tournament full of the best players, things change. Like when you have a tournament full of like some good players, some like newer players, and like a more diverse field, things change. But when you have a 3 RBT winners and Indikid is your new band name, that's funny. When you have a field that's like full of all of the best players, you have to come with something different. You know what I mean? Didn't he also play on a phone? Yes, Apple Pie. ProStorm did win last year's RBET rulers from the Himalayan mountains playing on a satellite smartphone. He did it. He was hiking in the Himalayas and he won absolute Giga Chad shit. Like some of the most unbelievable Chad stuff. Unreal. What a dominant player ProStorm was. His season last season was incredible too. He fucking crushed last season. Like I believe he top 8'd another RBET with Fairies, topped another RBET with like Yamada Dragon, like he topped an RBET with Dragon Turbo. I think he topped with the most different decks. He basically didn't have a bad tournament. I think the lowest he placed was top 16 in any tournament that he entered. Just an incredible player. Like one of the best to ever do it. Like if not the best to ever do it. That was yeah. He ascended with this deck list and with this tournament. So ProStorm walked away last year with his invite for this year. I don't even know if he's playing this year. I don't know if he's busy. I know he's a busy guy. He has a lot of stuff happening. But this was a short recap of top 8 of last year. So to sort of really recap, there was only 1 Blackwing in top 8. There was 0 Vayu Turbo. There's 1 Diva Hero Beat, but back then Diva Hero Beat wasn't really a deck. There were a couple of zombies. But if you look at the top 8, it looks like a lot of the decks were heavily metagamed. They were like, okay, we're not going to lose to Blackwings. Like, look at ProStorm's list. Double Consecrated, like, all of the stuff to defeat Blackwings. Like, this was a very anti-Blackwing list. If you look at Mumix's list, anti-Blackwing list. If you look at, like, what else was there? Like, obviously, Diva Hero Beat has a good Blackwing matchup. All of the people in the top 8 metagamed really hard for Blackwings, and as a result, the only Blackwing deck that did really good was the one that was, like, super all-in. So, like, that's kind of, like, what I expect to see from RBET rulers this year. I expect the top players, none of the top players, to lose to Blackwings that hard, just because it's really easy. Joseph says, you feel like people don't side for Blackwings like they used to. Definitely when you have a tournament full of the best players, and you give them, like, okay, this is the metagame stats. Blackwings is the most popular deck. None of them are going to lose to Blackwings. That's just how it goes. You know what I mean? Like, the best players know how to metagame. They know how to sideboard. They know how to adapt to certain metas. So even though there can be decks that are like quote unquote the best decks, Leonardo says Freed the Brave Wanderer kind of nice against Blackwings. There's actually a game in the replays where he goes second versus double Black Whirlwind normal Shura and he wins because of Freed. That is one of the craziest games of Yu-Gi-Oh! I have ever seen in my entire life. You definitely have to watch that. ProStorm puts on a masterclass of how to beat Blackwings when they start double Whirlwind. It was one of the most impressive games I've ever seen. It was so good, and Freed carried. So yeah, definitely Freed kind of nice, for sure. Kind of nice with it. All right, so let's move into this year. The first tournament of this year that qualified people for RBET Rulers was Deck Devastators 3. So hot off of RBET Rulers, this was one of the craziest top 8s. Definitely one of the sickest top 8s. For me personally, this tournament was like a highlight for me as not only a person who plays Edison format, but like as a viewer. Like I'm watching this tournament just the same as you guys are, you know? The first tournament hot off of that was Deck Devastators 3, where top 8 qualified. We had Chaos Fairy first place in the hands of Carpath, and then we had Dragons, second place, Zico's Dragons, which I believe, was he playing DD Warrior Lady Dragons? I believe he was. Let me take a look. He was. Yeah, he was playing DD Warrior Lady Dragons. So basically like, I can't remember. Yeah, pretty close copy to my list. There's a couple card differences. He was playing Prime Material over Rhoda, I believe. And he was playing My Body as a Shield over the second Starlight Road. But like almost identical to the list that I've played to a lot of tournament success. So this got second place. Third place was Corinna's Frog list. This was the very first like dedicated junk frog list we had ever seen. The triple junks plus the Rhoda and Dark Armed. Yeah, this was a really cool deck list because when it came out, like everyone was like, "Wow, Junk Frog's kind of crazy in frogs," and we hadn't really been like exploring Junk Frog as Junk Synchron as an idea in Frog Monarchs before this. So this was just a really, really cool way to kick off the year. I'm super happy that this was a qualifying event for RBET. I hit up Snack before the tournament. I was like, "Yo, Snack, we got to make this a qualifying event because not only does it like generate hype because it was the first tournament of the year, but it also generates hype for the Deck Devastators like tournament series, which I think is really sick that there's a tournament series that isn't RBET that's like kind of popping, because if I ever have the time, which I might, I can go play in a bigger tournament similar to RBET if I want to, which is why another reason why I was like, this should be a qualifying event so we can get more eyes on it, and then on top of that, like more people will enter so that I can personally go play in it later. You know what I mean? And then from there we've got Oglock Homies Blackwings, of course. This is a more stereotypical Blackwing list. At these bigger tournaments, again, I do expect the top eights to be more Blackwing heavy than at the like invitational style tournaments, just because I think as a whole people don't metagame as accurately or prepare as accurately as people do at the invitational style. A True Hero made it to top 8 of this tournament as well. With this was his first top 8 of the season. He had an insane season. He topped a ton of tournaments. He topped with Diva Hero. This was the first list he topped with, the double Gold Sark. I since then think that Gold Sark has fallen off. I don't think people play Gold Sark anymore. I don't think they play Penguin Soldier anymore. I think Penguin Soldier is not... I don't... You guys see Penguin Soldier in Diva Hero decks anymore? Press 1 if you still see Penguin Soldier in the Edison metagame. And press 2 if this card has maybe fallen from grace, if you will. Yeah, Sheldon made it to top 8 with Machina. Oh yeah, this was kind of the breakout tournament for Lightsworn Machina as well. Let's look at Sanchin and Sheldon's top 8 Machina Lightsworn decks. I remember this because before this tournament, Machina Lightsworn was like kind of an idea. I know Snack and Cameron had been working on it the year prior, but this was the first tournament Machina Lightsworn like topped. I think Times 2 might have had a top with it before, but I know Times 2 designed the deck, like the more finalized version with the Pot of Avarices. And this was the first time we saw both of these, and like we're like, oh, this deck is real. Like this deck is legit. It has a good Blackwing matchup. It has a good Vayu Turbo matchup. It's solid versus heroes because the way Machina Fortress lines up. It's not all in versus Cyber Dragon, so you're not getting like Chimera Tech every single game. It was a really cool adaptation. It was a really cool like just new deck to kind of pop out from this Deck Devastators tournament. So the beginning of the season started off like really cool. We had the RBET rulers with like 8 like kind of fresh deck lists, and then we had the Deck Devastators. Let's look at Carpass deck list. I'm sure you guys have seen it a billion times by now, but let's take a look at it again. Carpass Chaos Fairy deck list, which is something that like no one has really played up until this point. He was utilizing Royal Decree plus a gigantic amount of hand traps, like actually 9 hand traps plus Royal Decree as his main like as his main way to innovate the matchups he predicted to face. And you'll notice something silly about this deck list is that Carpath recognized this deck gets absolutely shit on by Drago because he's got Darks, Lights, and no trap cards. And so his sideboard had 3 Electric Virus, and in the finals he faced against Dragons. And he said the 3 Electric Virus hard carried him in that match. So pretty funny, like pretty funny to be like, yeah, he recognized what he lost to, he sided for it, and it came up when it mattered in the finals. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Honestly, Carpath is like one of the best deck builders and players to ever do it. So I'm not surprised to see him win with this, let's be real, worst Fairy deck. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Still Fairy W. We take those. Sky Score Gen Rise, kind of based. Actually, incredibly based. But yeah, that was the first qualifying event from this season. So the season started off really cool. A lot of Machina, couple Blackwings, Chaos Fairy, Dragons dominating the tournament. Moving on to the next qualifying event, that was RBET1 Season 2. And this one was really interesting because we saw this first, I believe this was one of the first times we saw this Evil Hero deck list as well. This was the first time Evil Heroes topped, I think. This is the Evil Hero deck list that was designed by Zytalos, aka Who Needs Meta. How many of you guys watch Who Needs Meta? You guys watch that channel? He does like, or they do like paper, old school like retro Yu-Gi-Oh matches. Do you guys watch Who Needs Meta? Their channel's really sick. If you don't watch it, you should check it out. It's really really cool. Yeah, one of the guys from that channel designed this deck, and the way the deck works is you summon Prisma, or you find Prisma with Ecall or Rhoda. You summon Prisma, and you can reveal one of these numerous fusions to send rocks or fiends to set up for your Dark Calling. And you can also send water in the form of Elemental Hero Ocean by revealing Terra Firma to set up for Miracle Fusion with one card. So this is like the 6 fusion spell if you count Future Fusion. The channel's called Who Needs Meta MM. This is a 6 fusion spell like fusion spam deck. This is the first like all purple monster deck that we've really seen like kind of take over and like have a really really sick tournament run. And I think this deck is legit slept on. I think it needs a little bit of room for innovation. I played it a little bit after the tournament, after it topped, and I did not have very good results with the deck. I felt that it was a bit underpowered in its current state, but maybe I was just playing it poorly. I don't know. But it put this list into top 8. So this was the first RBET of season 2. This list is just fucking clean. Let's be real. It's really cool. The next list that did top 8 was a Hero Stun deck in the hands of Giorgione, I believe. Yeah, Hero Stun deck. This is a kind of like Diva Hero Beat, but without the divas. I've played against this deck a lot. This deck Pro Storm also topped with the previous year, if I remember correctly. I don't know. It's just a stun deck, you know? It's like one of those classic, like, 15 trap, like, I'm going to summon a Stratos and search an alias and hope my trap cards get their deck. These types of decks I have found do really well against newer players. If you set 4 against a newer player, it's usually like a pretty big moral victory. I think just like it's very demoralizing. If you're a newer player and you have to play into 4 trap cards and you don't know how to navigate situations or like sandbag threats, playing against like 16 trap, 17 trap style decks is just going to put you in a really bad mental state. And then when your mental's weakened, you're more likely to lose to just like a 1900 hitting your face if you make a couple of mistakes here and there. But I think this type of list has since fallen off in favor of the Diva list, while I don't think that this list should have fallen off. I think this list is probably better than the Diva list, but for some reason, people prefer the Diva list when entering tournaments, or newer players prefer the Diva list when entering tournaments because they like to synchro summon. I do think that this type of build is better, and it has a better chance, especially against an open field, to top and win, but it's just like it's less interesting. If you're a newer player and you're getting into a format, it's kind of a hard sell to be like, I want to play the deck with 12 monsters. Like usually newer players want to play the deck with the most monsters. That's why Monster Mash style decks appeal to newer players so much, if that makes sense. So yeah. All right, moving on. The next top deck list, I wish I had the names on screen here. That is kind of a mistake, but someone can fill me in. The next top deck list, oh, I know who topped with this. This is Feng Shui's. This is Feng Shui's quick draw deck list. Feng Shui topped RBET1 Season 2 with Quick Draw Dandy Warrior. And this list was clean. AWOW says Diva definitely better. No, Diva Hero is definitely better, but Diva Hero Beat is not better. Diva Hero is definitely better. Hey, that's Feng Shui. Yeah, this is one of the cleanest deck lists I've ever seen. Now, Feng Shui is a very decorated player. I mean, he topped a bunch of Shonens. He topped Shonen Jump Championship Edison with Christius Warren, with main deck Consecrated Light, which is incredibly based. Just one of the most Chad powerful players. He's got double Thestalos as a way to progress his board state after flipping Hamster into an empty board. Because oftentimes if you flip Hamster and you summon Raikou proactively, it's because your opponent has not commit to the board. Or if they have commit to the board, they've just like set a bottomless or something. But being able to sack for Thestalos is a way to proactively go against what your opponent is sandbagging. It's a way to proactively pressure your opponent's held threats. It's a way to loop ways to interact with combo decks like Dragon Turbo or Frogs or decks that don't commit to the field that much, basically. Thestalos is really good in those matchups. It's good versus Fairy if they're sandbagging Christia. It's good versus, even versus Blackwings, it's pretty good because it'll still get your plus into Icarus attack in a way that like other Monarchs like Ryza and Caius won't. So that was a really cool innovation. The one quick draw innovation is really cool. Not playing Sangan, which I found really interesting, opting for triple Hamster instead. I do like double Avarice. I think double Avarice is better in the super fast meta. I think double Avarice is a little bit better. One thing that I think would be really good in this type of deck list, or is really good in this type of deck list, is the Treeborn Frog. And the reason I think Treeborn Frog is so good in this deck is because A, it improves your Foolish Burial, which is something that I think the Dandy decks in general kind of they have a weaker. Sangan isn't here? Am I missing it? Oh, it is there. It is there. Okay, he does have Sangan. I just missed it. That's my bad. Yeah, Sangan's insane in this deck. I think Sangan is very good. I was going to say I would definitely play Sangan in this deck. But yeah, Treeborn Frog improves the Foolish Burial, especially with this few trap cards. Having Treeborn Frog is just a must-have, basically. Like, it improves your matchup into Deck Devastation Virus. It makes it so that if you have a couple Monarchs, you can play into the Deck Dev from Blackwings, Deck Dev from Vayu Turbo, etc., etc. You can sort of turn it, you can pivot into being like more of a jank Frog Monarch deck versus those types of decks. And then in the sideboard, you've got a bunch of stun cards, which I think is badass too. So that way, whenever you side in your cards, it improves going second. Thunder King's insane versus Heroes. It's insane versus Blackwings. You got Doom Caliber, which is insane versus the other Hamster Raikou decks. It's also like weirdly good versus Frogs and stuff. These cards are really nice too with Pot of Avarice and Drill Warrior. You can reuse Thunder King. It's like a reusable Solemn Warning against Dragon Turbo. Doom Caliber Knight, really good against dragons. The D Prisons really help you against like Fossil Dyna, which is going to be coming in against you, Vanity's Fiend. Second Compulsory to help you answer Stardust Dragon. This deck can struggle with Stardust Dragon. Double DD Crow as a way to fight mirror matches, Pot of Avarice matches. You can loop DD Crow. You could turn it into Synchro. Just really, really solid deck. I think this is like one of the best deck lists to come out of this entire season. Like, bar none. I think if I was going to play Quick Draw, it would be hard for me to not play this exact deck list because this exact deck list is just probably the best deck list of Quick Draw to come out of this season. Like, it's just the cleanest. You have the most starters. You have Thestalos as a proactive threat. The utility cards, I like the diversity of utility cards. Double Soul Exchange, Enemy Controller, Compulsory, like one Phoenix Wing. Just a lot of diversity. Your opponent never knows what to play around, which I think is a good way to be in Edison format. So yeah, really cool list. Happy that Feng Shui topped with it because then I got to, see it, play it on the channel. I've played it on the channel also in this playlist, the Thestalos video, and it went crazy when I played it on the channel too. The next deck list from this one that was top 8 was Diva Hero. Who topped with this? I don't even remember. I should have their names on the screen. I'll try and do that for RB2 rulers. For the next one, this was the coolest. I think this was Letio who topped with this. I could be wrong. I remember Letio having the Soul Exchange tech. But yeah, this is like pretty much what we expect Diva Hero to look like nowadays, but like slightly different. There's one Cyber Dragon. There's one Soul Exchange. This does have the E-Call, but it also has the Alias. Nowadays, people have just cut the Alias altogether, and they just use E-Call as a bluff. This is triple discard trap. I know people have moved away from the triple discard trap nowadays. I know a true hero is a big fan of just playing like bottomless Deep Prison, but I think the discard traps they lead to more shutouts. Because like if I start Stratos and I search Malicious, and then I go End Phase Wind Blast, your monster or your back row, and then on my turn I summon Diva, that's usually just game. Like straight up, like you lock them out of a draw step, you have a 6-star and an 8-star, basically for free. Your miracles are live from that point on. It's just a really, really disgusting start going first. So I think if you expect to win a lot of die rolls, Phoenix Wing Wind Blast is something you should play more of. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting deck list too. He's playing triple deck dev, which combos with his Soul Exchange plan. You can set deck dev, and then you can Soul Exchange, target your opponents like Sirocco or Caius, and then flip deck dev to sack their monster as cost for deck dev, and then deck dev your opponent off their own big monster, which is really, really good versus like Blackwings and not Diva Hero. Well, yeah, it is pretty good versus Diva Hero as well. Also good versus Vayu Turbo. So it's just a really cool sideboard plan to have that Soul Exchange plus Vanity, Soul Exchange plus deck dev, and then also having the Siroccos to make sure the triple deck devs are live is really cool too. So this list looks like it's good going first because of the triple Wind Blast. And it's great going second because of the double Cyber, double Sirocco, double Soul Exchange. So really cool technology here. I can see why it topped. Next deck list from this event was James Ark, I believe. James Ark topped. We already talked about this list. This is an exact copy of Mumix's list. He figured there was nothing to change, and this is how James Ark got his invite. He topped the first tournament of the year with Christia Sworn. So solid stuff to him. He played it pretty well too. I remember we watched him on camera, and he was kind of fucking up on camera, but I watched some of his other replays after that, and he made some crazy plays in that. So you know, sometimes the camera gets to people. That's all I'll say. And even people like James, who's like one of the best players in the game, in my opinion. He's really, really solid player, but the camera, he was on camera. He made a few, I think, play errors, and you know, don't be too hard on yourself if you make mistakes on camera, basically, because I feel like even the best players make mistakes on camera, you know? All right, next list. We already talked about this one. The next list was Raunuk with Frog Burn. This was the first time Frog Burn had ever topped, which is so hype. It was so hype. Hold on one second, guys. I have to cough. All right, we're back. Yeah, this is the first time Frogburn had ever topped. And this list is actually so sick. I mean, the Magic Cylinder, the creature swaps, the Lava Golems have since kind of moved out of the deck. They were kind of crazy tech, but the idea to play this list at all and the innovation necessary that Raunuk had to do to create a deck like this is bonkers. Like, this is just like from a design standpoint, this is one of the most well-designed first drafts of a list. I'm sure this isn't his first draft of the list, but like, this is just Raunuk working on this deck. This is literally just Raunuk working on this deck, and he came up with this, and this is pretty close to what people are playing now. I think this deck is crazy good. The way it works is you use the Monarchs as burn spells, basically, and then you use Turbo Rocket plus Turbo Cannon plus Threatening Roars and Wabakus to burn your opponent to death. And then you use Lava Golem, Creature Swap, Magic Cylinder, that sort of stuff. Combination attacks to finish off your opponent's last few life points, more or less. Cards like Marshmallow obviously are suboptimal cards in a lot of cases, but in this case, it does deal burn damage. So at the very least, it contributes to your game plan. The sideboard, he has Triple Sirocco, which is one of the best burn spells against Blackwings. And then he's just got 3x of everything else that you could possibly want. 3 Dust Tornado to help deal with Royal Decree, and also like other back row. 3 Book of Moon. It's important to dust your opponent's dust in this matchup too, because you often need your Threatening Roar and Wabaku to be defended. Triple Book to stop Vanities, Triple Vanities to Vanities people, and Triple Crow for the Graveyard Shenanigans. So yeah, really solid stuff. Book also stops Prime Material Dragon, which is a card that could come up in this versus this deck. That's pretty good. Just really, really cool deck. This is like one of the few burn decks that can very easily out Heraclinos game 1, which I think is pretty funny. Not that that ever comes up because nobody plays Glads, but really sick deck list from Raunuk. I've played it a bunch on the channel. It's also going to come up later in other top 8, so we'll talk about it a bit more as the stream goes on. And let's see what else. Vayu Turbo got second place at this tournament. This looks pretty standard. I can't remember who this was. Yeah, I don't remember who topped with this, but this looks like pretty much what we'd expect from the list. The biggest changes in this one is the higher monster count. We've got Chaos Sorcerer plus Lila, and we've got Elfin. We've only got 1 Armageddon Knight, triple Sirocco, triple Vayu, triple Greffer. So I think this one is like slightly different from what we see, just because like he opted to max out Greffer and then play the Lila plus the Chaos Sorcerer as well. This is just like more monster focused, more aggro focused. I think that these types of lists fit my playstyle a little bit more, because when I play this deck, I swear to fucking God, I open Vayu Sirocco every single game. And I open like multiples of them, and I just die. So I really do like having the third Greffer just for like my personal preference. I'd rather have Greffer and nothing to pitch and still have a higher chance of hitting Greffer off the top when I need it than just not have Greffer when I need it. So I do like this list a lot. I think this list is kind of cash money. I think Chaos Sorcerer is good tech. I think Lila is good tech. And I think this list is just like overall really solid. The sideboard, you look at it, and it's just like he has Royal Decrees, which I think is really cool. That's a cool way to like sort of shut out Blackwings in the mirror, is to have Royal Decree. Also for like heavier trap decks, because he's so light on the back row, he could like side down and then side in. And then another thing is, I think is this, whose list is this? I don't know whose list this is, but he's not maining the Royal Oppressions, which is normally what you would be maining in a deck like this, because Blackwings was so popular at this tournament, so he metagamed a little bit. Royal Oppression isn't very good versus Blackwings game 1, so he decided to side the Royal Oppressions instead of main them. You'll notice later on that Chaos Sorcerer is going to be a recurring theme here. And then the first place list was actually Soul. I remember this. Soul got first placed with this sort of graveyard control zombie deck list. And I was, really impressed when this came out because there are a lot of cool techs in this deck, namely the 2 main deck DD Crows, to help fight graveyard matchups. Decks like Vayu Turbo, decks like the Zombie Mirror, decks like Frogs. Having 4 ways to interact with the graveyard in your main deck makes it so that your opponent's very often not going to be able to do unfair grave shit, but you are, because you have zombies in your deck and you have Dark Armed and stuff. He's playing very stock zombies engine, triple Caius type beat, but it just works, You don't really have to fix it if it just works. You'll notice one mistake in his extra deck was he had an Armed Wing and an Armor Master, and no way to summon them. But he said that it didn't end up mattering that he was missing. I think he said he would have played. It was I don't remember. I think it was Android and Gaia-Knight. And he said they just wouldn't have come up in the tournament anyway. So it didn't end up mattering for him. He had all the extra deck that he needed in order to win the tournament. And the sideboard looks solid as hell too. Respecting Lightsworn a ton with the triple Light Mirror. Respecting Fairies a ton with the triple Light Mirror. He said that those were 2 of his harder matchups. And then he also sided the Return, which is interesting. It's definitely a card I would main in Zombies. But it looks like he's trying to play a much more controlling route with the Crows. And with ways to clear the back row. And with Starlight Road, it looks like he's trying to play more of a not OTK style deck. And I think that ended up working out really well in his favor. Just having actionable back row. Being able to set multiple and be safe with Starlight Road is huge. Having DD Crow to interact in the Zombie Mirror is huge as well. And just having an extra hand trap alongside the Dragon Gores is just really nice versus a lot of decks. So this was a really cool deck list to see win a tournament. Very different take from just the stuff we saw not even 2 months earlier topping RBET Rulers. For example, if you compare this Silchus Ruin deck list with the Malicious and the Future Fusion and the Return in the main and not playing Crows, not playing whatever, only 1 Dust Tornado in the main. If you compare that to this list, there's some significant differences. So it's cool to see how 2 very different versions of a deck can both do well at a tournament, as long as they're cohesive within themselves. As long as the deck knows what it's trying to do and the player knows what the deck is trying to accomplish, and then just sticks to that game plan, if that makes sense. What's up, Goatsart? All right, that's it for the first RBT of this season. So far we've seen 2 of the qualifying events, technically 3, because the first place from RBET Rulers, Pro Storm, did qualify for this year's event. So we've looked at 3 of the qualifying seasons or tournaments. The next decks that we're going to look at is RBET 2 Season 2. So this is, I think this one is where we started to see a bit more Blackwings. I think this one was a Blackwing tournament, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this one was really heavy on the Blackwings. So Blackwing Yondaime got 8th place with Blackwings stock stuff, but with the legacy innovation from Pro Storm's top 8 deck list. Really cool to see that carry over to a different deck that also plays hand traps like Kalut, as well as DD Crows in the sideboard. So legacy, very strong card if your deck has hand traps, in my opinion. But yeah, pretty much not much to say about this. It was interesting to see, it was crazy, because these last 3 tournaments, the first 3 tournaments, Blackwings were there, right? Kinda. But not really. Everyone at the top of the tournaments knew how to beat the decks. Everyone at the top of the tournaments had cohesive plans versus the decks. They were doing things not maining Oppression and Vayu Turbo. They were doing things having Consecrated Lights, triple Consecrated in James Ark's deck list, for example. Stuff like that. People prepared for Blackwings. And then at some point between RBET 1 Season 2 and RBET 2 Season 2, people just forgot Blackwings existed. And then it just came back because people just stopped siding for it. And I was you can't just stop siding for it. It's still the most played deck. Even though people you know what I mean? It was kind of weird. It was kind of weird. But this list is cool. He's got the Gramble on the side. Next top 8 list was Diva Zombies. Again, I think this is an exact or really close to Soul's list with the double Crows in the main. Yeah, this list was really interesting. No Trag. Oh, no, it does have Trag. Yeah, it does have Trag. Double Crow Trag. It's missing something, right? No, it might just be the same. What is it missing? Is it the Dust Tornadoes in the main? Yeah, I think it's the main deck Dust Tornadoes. But he did elect to play the main deck Return over one of the Dust Tornadoes. And he did elect to play one more spell card. What was the spell card he added? Was it Mind Control? No, that's in there. The fuck? What was the spell card he added? Oh, Book of Moon. He's playing Book of Moon over something. Yeah, triple knock. Fuck hamster. Double skill drain. Who was this? Who was this? I got this top. Fancy Diesel. This is Fancy Diesel's list. That guy's the GOAT. That guy's hella good. He's a really strong player. He's been around since like day one. He was like one of the very first people playing Edison format on Discord with me and the boys. So really, really, really strong player. Basically, crushing this tournament, making it all the way to 7th. Really cool deck list. I think the Double Crow Zombie list is like still good. Like I play it sometimes with my friends. I have it sort of built in paper, and yeah, I just think it's really good. Just having 4 ways to interact with the graveyard in the main deck is really unique to this deck. The next deck that topped was actually Quick Draw. This was in the hands of Frey. Okay, I'm gonna butcher this name, but Freya. I'm not sure which it is. Freya or Freja. This is the second Quick Draw top 8 of the season, and this one is vastly different from the previous one. This one has triple Avarice, no Thestalos, main deck Cyber Valley to combo with Brain Control and with the Dandy tokens, which I think is really hype. Has the main deck Call of the Haunted, as well as 10 traps, as opposed to Feng Shui's 5 traps. And I think the biggest difference between these two lists is like how much you're committing to the board. I think this list commits to the board a lot more than the last list, than Feng Shui's list. This list has no hand traps, it doesn't have Battle Fader or Trag. This list doesn't have Treeborn Frog, so you're pretty safe to just commit a bunch of cards to the sets. And then you'll notice the sideboard does have that double Consecrated, which is really good for dealing with Blackwings in this style of deck. And it is ruled in Edison format, which I think is a dumbass ruling, but you can sacrifice Consecrated Light for Caius. So even if you draw Consecrated Caius, it's actually not that bad because you can still just sack Consecrated for Caius later on if you need to. But yeah, really solid stuff. Even having the 2 trap stuns and the My Body as a Shield to help deal with deck dev. So a very different approach to like how the deck deals with deck dev, as opposed to just siding like 20 monsters that don't get hit by deck dev or whatever. Freja decided to have the trap stuns and the My Body as a Shield as well. Really, really cool quick draw list. This is one that I never really tried card for card, but I did try something similar with Cyber Valley in it, and I was impressed with Cyber Valley. I still, to this day, am impressed with Cyber Valley in Edison format as just a one-of. It's a great way to go second and improve brain control, basically. Next deck. That was a really cool one, though. I remember that top 8 and just being like, wow, Quick Draw, maybe Quick Draw's it. It topped back-to-back RBETs at the start of the season, and I was like, maybe we're just sleeping on this deck. Maybe it's still just fucking based. And this is all given the fact that at these first 2 tournaments, Quick Draw was not played. Like, there were maybe like 3 or 4 players playing it, and like one of them topped both times, which is super impressive. Like, super, super impressive to have like one Quick Draw player top or whatever. Y'all still with me? I'm gonna refresh the chat. I don't know if it's like dying or not. Hold up. We're refreshing real quick. Okay, we're back. I don't want top chat. I want the live chat. All right, press 1 if you're with me right now. I've lost you all. It's over. I've lost you all. It's done. It's done. It's cooked. It's over. It's Jover. All right. Moving on. But like I said, at this tournament, people forgot Blackwings existed, and I believe this is Dimitri's top 8 Blackwing list with no Icarus attack. What's up, Eric Shen? Ooh, we're gonna be covering your deck list in a bit. Powerful duelist. But yeah, this is Dimitri's list with no Icarus, and he's playing Dark Illusion, and I think that that's fucking based. This is a very Swedish style Blackwing list, low trap count with the Greffers, triple value Gores, but he's also playing Dark Illusion as well. I like that he's playing Rhoda as a way to play around Dust Shoot. I think that this list is disgusting. Once again, Dimitri, he top 8'd if we flash back to RBT Rulers. He top 8'd RBT Rulers with a very innovative deck list. So it doesn't surprise me to see him top 8 another RBT of this season with a very innovative deck list. Cutting Icarus attack from Blackwings is like one of the biggest innovations that we've seen from this season. is just honestly a very smart way to build this deck, because your opponent is always going to play around Icarus Attack. They're always going to side Starlight Roads and always going to side like my body's a shield. And how do you mix people up like that? D-Prison. That's how you do it. Just have trap cards that are always live. And Dark Illusion is really sick. Dark Illusion counters Brain Control, it counters Caius, it counters Raikou in the damage step, it counters so much shit that's like so fucking good against Blackwings. And it just counters all of it. So I think Dark Illusion is I'm gonna say it. I'm shocked people didn't pick this list up quicker. I am shocked that people didn't play this list after this event, because after this event, guess how many Dark Illusions we've seen? 0. We've seen 0. Another thing is, in the mirror match, guess what Dark Illusion counters? Icarus Attack. It also counters D-Prison. It counters all the cards you care about. So, like, I'm just shocked. Also, you know what it counters in the mirror match that is something that's really unique, is it counters Sirocco. So, like, let's say you're playing Blackwings and your opponent goes normal Sirocco, special Bora, or just normal Sirocco, target their Sirocco with Sirocco's effect to pump it, you can chain Dark Illusion to negate and destroy their Sirocco. It's like another trap hole in that matchup against the worst card for you to see, which is Sirocco. So I'm just like, I'm shocked that this card didn't see more play after this. Like, Dimitri really cracked it with this deck, and like, it just got no love. I don't know. People just forget. They see a top 8 deck list and they're like, oh, that's neat. And then they just forget about it for the rest of the season. And I'm like, what? Every time I play against Blackwings, I'm just thankful I don't run into this card, because this card is fucking disgusting. It's like one of the best cards in Blackwings, like by far. I'm just shocked. I'm shocked it doesn't see more play. He's even playing it over Solemn. You'll notice in the mirror match, Solemn is honestly just a 4,000 life point trap hole in the mirror match. And you don't want to be paying life points like that, because then it means you're getting reversal by Sirocco, reversal by Kalutz, reversal by whatever, yeah. Someone says Kaya's Self-Burn is also countered. Yes, Kaya's Self-Burn is also countered. Almost everything that's going to fuck up your shit in Blackwings is countered by Dark Illusion. So overall, a really sick list. I'm just shocked that this didn't take off more. Like, that's like one of those things where I can tell that the average player doesn't see this stuff. You know what I mean? This is why I'm so excited for Rulers. This is why I'm so excited to see players like Dimitri, players like who innovate deck lists, all these players who have topped. I'm excited to see what they bring to the game, because to me, that's what Edison format is. Edison format isn't like these large tournaments are sick, right? And they do like have merit. You know what I mean? They have a lot of merit as for what they are. But to me, as someone who plays Edison format like fucking religiously, as someone who knows the format inside and out, what's exciting to me is seeing top players approach the game with that same knowledge. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited to see if like something like this shows up at RBET Rulers. That'd be really sick. All right, next list. He's also citing DD Warrior Lady. Oh, that's so money for the Rhoda to have an extra out to consecrate it. Fucking genius list, man. This list is so good. You'll have to miss Rulers. You'll be back next year. Fuck yeah, bro. Fuck yeah. Okay, next list. Next list was Hero Beat. Another stun Hero Beat. So once again, after RBET Rulers last year, Diva Hero Beat, nowhere to be seen. But the stun Hero Beat actually has had a lot of tournament success. I think this was, I don't remember whose list this was. It says at the beginning of the video. Who was this? Accident Prone. Yeah, this was Accident Prone's list. This list was crazy teched out. Only one E-Call, Soul Taker, Shrink, Book of Moon, 3 like weird random spell cards, main deck compulsory, 1 main deck oppression, just like tech cards everywhere. How does your opponent prepare for this? 1 Thunder King, 1 DD Warrior Lady, 1 Dinah, 1 Snowman Eater, 1 Grand Mole, like just, this almost looks like a Highlander deck with like Stratos and 3 Alias. This deck was crazy. I remember when we were watching him play live, it was just like, how many different tech cards does he have? He was like flipping up all these different cards. I'm like, how did he find room for all this shit? And it turns out he's just playing 1 of everything. And then if you look at his sideboard, also 1 of everything, except triple knock, triple pulling. But yeah, he just has 1 Banisher, another Thunder King, another Dinah, 1 Kaiku, 1 Sirocco, 1 Oppression, 1 Lightning Force, like just a lot of 1-ofs. So really interesting approach to this sort of stun hero deck list. I think this was a really cool take on it, just because it shows like you can kind of do whatever you want in Edison format as long as you're playing hot. And then also, as long as you're mixing up information, like having cool tech is like kind of a vibe. It's kind of a vibe. This is a deck list where if I played this on the channel, people would say that's a bad deck. Like, that's what they would tell me. That's what they would tell me. And the reason I know that that's what they would tell me is because that's what they did tell me. Literally today, I like posted a video last night and someone commented this on the channel and it was the top comment today. And this is the reason I'm even doing this stream. Hold up. This was the top comment today on the video. This guy says, why do you make good lists terrible? And obviously this is implying that the deck I played in today's video was a good list that I had made terrible, which is crazy because the list I played in today's video, like if you look at today's video, where is it? youtube.com/E3 Yu-Gi-Oh. Let's look at the list I played in today's video. What was it? This is the one that the comment was on. Was Hero Frogs. And guess what I did to get this list? I just went to a PS5 tournament and copied a top 4 deck list. So I literally just copy pasted a deck list. And I have people in my comments saying like, why do you make good lists terrible? Like, I just copied a list, bro. I don't know what you want from me. I'm just playing the decks that have topped. Like, it's crazy. But I imagine people like this. Imagine people who liked this comment and like comment stuff like this. Someone says it's Bizos, so it makes sense. I don't know who that is, but I imagine people who like comment like this and would see a deck list like this and be like, oh, that's a terrible deck list. But they fail to realize that this deck list is the one in top 8. And the deck list I played in today's video was the one that was winning a Nintendo Switch. And the person making the comment is not that person. So it's just weird. It's like the deck list topped. So what if the deck list topped? Like, it can't be that bad. You know what I mean? It can't be terrible because it won a Nintendo Switch. That's more than you can say about your fucking whatever list that you had. So that was really wild. That was actually so wild. Yeah, no, it was wild to wake up to that. Ooh, this is a different one. It was wild to wake up to that and then like read it and then see it had 14 upvotes. I'm like, man, are 14 people really this dumb? And I'm like, oh yeah, 14 people probably are really that dumb. It's insane to me. Like some people, like when I read comments, I'm just like, what the fuck? YouTube comments are cursed, man. And then we got into a discussion about it because like someone was like, it's probably because I didn't copy Fraser Smith's deck list. And then Fraser Smith got involved in the discussion and he was like, yeah, but my deck list had like Dandelion in it and Dandelion's like not that good of a card. So it makes sense like that I didn't copy it. You know what I mean? Because he himself in his video said that his deck list was not optimal. Like, so what am I supposed to do? Not copy that or copy the one that's won a fucking Nintendo Switch? Like, I don't know what you want me to do, bro. I just copied a list. Holy shit. But yeah, that's really funny. It's funny how like people have this, top tier gaming Yu-Gi-Oh says, okay, but topping an event does not inherently mean it's a great list either. Look at the Ricket deck list that top 250. Okay, so back to the comment, right? Back to the comment. This comment is bad for a couple of reasons, top tier gaming. The first one is it says, why do you make good lists terrible? It's an accusation that I made the list. First off, I didn't make the list. Second off, I don't know what the good list is. He hasn't given me so like, this is not a constructive criticism. It's also not even an accurate criticism because I didn't make the list at all. It's like assuming that I made the list, which I didn't, and then assuming the list was terrible, which it wasn't because it topped, and it also won every game in that video. Like, it literally won every match in that video. And then on top of that, I went to another recently topping list, which was Fraser Smith's list, and it was like 3 cards different. And I was like, what? Like, the main deck was literally, I think it was 2 cards different. The main deck was 2 cards different. And the sideboard was 3 cards different. And I was like, 14 people upvoted this. Like, first off, I didn't even make the list. It's like a crazy assumption. You just wanted to point it out. You love what you do. Yeah, of course. Just because the list tops doesn't mean it's good. That's true. And that's kind of what I'm kind of talking about this list here, right? Like, we can't, yo, what's up, Juan? How you doing? We can't with good conscience say that this list is optimal, right? We can't with good conscience say the list with Soul Taker, Shrink, fucking 1 Book of Moon, 1 Compulsory, 1 Oppression, you know what I mean? 1 E-Call. Can we say that this is optimal? What's up, W11? Thanks for subscribing. But yeah, like, what was I saying? We can't say it's optimal, but what we can say is it was successful. So really, what is optimal if not successful? If you're topping the tournament, is that not optimal? Like, this is kind of like in a way, if you got your invite, Does it matter? Strokes chin. If you won the games. Sildra says it's optimal because you simply draw the one-ofs you need at any moment. Exactly. Heart of the fucking cards. Right? Like, yes, I get it. Don't be results-oriented. But if I had played this list in a video, people would have come into my comments and said the same thing that guy said. And I would have just been like, all right, man. It topped. You didn't. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, oh, man, that shit tilts me. Anyway, moving on. This list is tight, by the way. I think this list is very based. I think that, who was it that topped again? Accident Prone did a great job making it to top 4 with this cool, like, Hero Stun style deck. Really neat, really innovative stuff. Big fan of that. Moving on. Next list was Diva Hero. I believe this was a true hero again. Motherfucker does nothing but top. All this guy does is top. I swear to God. All he does is make it to top cut of tournaments. He's just He's a consistency goat. He's like this season's beast mode. Like dead ass. This one was also with Gold Sarks, similar to his previous last list. He played main deck Dev, main deck Dust Tornado. On that bottomless life, on that Mind Crush main deck life, very low monster count. Down to 18 monsters in the main deck. No e-call. And this list, if I were to play a list like this, I feel like I would simply not ever draw hero, and I would just lose. And that's why, like, this list seems very, very risky. Of all of a True Heroes lists, this one looks the most risky, because this one just does not have a lot of threats. It does not have a lot of starters either. Your only starters are Future Fusion, Rhoda, and Stratos. You only have 3 starters. So, like, I think this is the greediest of all of his deck lists. It paid off for him. He made it to 3rd place. And functionally, it is still very similar to the other deck lists, provided you draw your Stratos or your Rhoda. But very interesting deck list. Electing to cut cards like E-Call or Tragodia or, like, consistency stabilizer cards for stuff like Deck Dev, which are just kind of like high roll cards, is pretty risky, I think. It's pretty risky in my opinion, but the deck looks solid, and he got it all the way to 3rd place at this RBET with it, so that's usually all you need, is just a solid enough deck, basically, is what I'm saying here. Next deck. We've talked about his deck list in the past. We don't need to touch on this one anymore, except for maybe the Mask of Restricting a sideboard is a little weird. I think it's weird because, like, you have Vanities, you have Caius, you have Deck Dev. Mask of Restrict kind of conflicts with that, but maybe it's not that big of a deal. Also, 2 Decree with 10 traps main deck is a little bit sus, but maybe it just works. I don't know. Tim Ponte says, what deck do you think could make the best use of Instant Fusion into Elemental Hero Mariner? Probably some sort of Hero Frog, Hero Frog deck. Hero Frog or Fish Frogs or Fish Hero Frogs could make the best use of it. Fish because it's an extender. If you can bring out Fishborg, you can make a 6-star with the Mariner. And then also you can use it as your second tribute for Coelacanth. And you can pitch dead Instant Fusions or dead Miracles to the Coelacanth. I think that is the best deck that can make use of it in theory. Okay, moving on. Second place from this list was Diva Hero Beat. Or from this RBET was Diva Hero Beat. And I believe this was Callum. And he had a pretty crazy record. He had a pretty crazy run. I think he went, 11-2? So pretty crazy run from this deck list. I think this is very similar to the one we saw, but I don't remember if this was the same as Indikid's list. No, it's a little different. Indikid's list was different. It had 3 E-calls. Callum was on 2. Indikid was playing Upstart. Where was I? Here we are. He was also playing the 13th monster, which I believe is the Double Ocean. He was playing 2 Ocean in his deck list, whereas Indikid was playing 1 Ocean in his deck list. So, I mean, slight differences. The deck is what deck does. This deck, I think this is the first top of the season for it. Yeah, this was the first top of the season for Diva Hero Beat, which is a solid finish. 2nd place. I think Callum's a really good player. He cooks a lot. He also plays Pokemon, if I believe. He's also a Pokemon player, which is really sick. It's cool to see players who play multiple TCGs come in and have their takes on certain decks and stuff. Because I think like when you have someone who's playing like Magic or like Pokemon, that skill set carries over, and it just makes you a better and more well-rounded player if you have an understanding of multiple TCGs. And so I think it's really cool that Callum is like, he's like diversified his skill set basically. You like this list? Yeah, the list looks very solid. It's got the double Wind Blast, double Ocean. So he's kind of on that like, I'm going to Wind Blast Ocean Loop people vibe. The sideboard is got the double Shadow Mirror, which is an interesting tech. I think Shadow Mirror is great in this deck. I think Shadow Mirror in general is not the best, but in this deck specifically, it's really good. And then first place was Stevie with Black Wings. And I remember this list being really talked about because he didn't play Brain Control. What do you guys think? Do you think cutting Brain Control is optimal or not in this list? What do you think? Optimal. We'll start a poll. So far, it looks like 3 people have voted that it's not optimal. What do you think? Do you guys think it's optimal to cut Brain Control with 3 upstart? I'm trying to get some engagement here. I'm trying to see what you guys think about these lists, because like I've talked about them, you know, obviously during the top 8 videos, but then it kind of like fades out of people's memory, you know. People are like, Brain Control is insane. What the heck? People will Gold Sark for Brain Control. Yeah, people will Gold Sark for Brain Control. That is true. I just want to know what you guys think. Card is crazy. I maybe agree with that. But Stevie won the tournament. So, was he cooking? He won the tournament. Isn't the point of upstart to draw into blowouts like Brain Control? His argument for this list was with the 3 upstart. Well, his argument with this list is that Brain Control only converts if you have one of your 4 tuners, or if you have Sirocco to sacrifice, which is, in my opinion, enough conversions for Brain Control. No, Enraged Peacock says that you think it was an oversight. It actually wasn't. He intentionally cut Brain Control to make room for the 3rd upstart. He said because of the 3 upstarts and because of the way his deck functions, or the way he wanted to play the deck functionally, he said Brain Control often was a burn spell to him. And because he had 3 upstarts, it weakened the strength of that burn spell of cutting Brain. Now, he ended up winning the tournament, but because he won the tournament, does that prove or disprove this logic? I guess is the question we're going with. Because he won the tournament, is it correct or is it not correct? Because there's two arguments here, right? There's the first argument, which is it was definitely correct for this tournament because he won the tournament. So like, you cannot take that away from him. You cannot say it wasn't right for that tournament because he won the whole fucking tournament, right? Like, just because a list is not correct moving forward doesn't mean it wasn't correct for that one tournament. And if you won the one tournament, you played the correct list for that tournament. That's at least how I see it. But moving forward is something that you have to think about. You're like, if I am going to go to a tournament again in the future, is Brain Control a card I should cut? And I think people have a lot of people have like these sacred cows, these cards that they are like, I would never cut that card, or I would never play without that card. And then all of a sudden, you see lists, like, let's go back to RBET Rulers, where the Christia Sworn list debuted. This was the first Light Sworn list I think I've ever seen cut Heavy Storm, or Cold Wave, or a bunch of spells, honestly, or Wolf, and have an incredible amount of success. You know what I mean? Like, this was one of the first successful lists I've seen that cut cards that people are like, oh, this card's too good to cut. You can't cut that card. But then you think about all the situations in which that card is bad, in which that card is dead, in which that card has been played around by your opponent. You know what I mean? When your opponent goes to play around a card, what are they going to play around? They're going to play around Brain Control. That is the card that people play around, right? You know what I mean? Like, that is, okay, I'm going to put him below 800 so Brain can't activate. I'm going to play around brain control by setting my monster or tribute setting my monster or something like that. Or like setting compulsory at certain times to play around that brain control. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. I don't want to say that it's entirely wrong. I think it was correct on this day. Like Juan is saying, I think it was absolutely correct for this event because he won. But is it correct moving forward? Looks like the majority of you guys have voted no. It looks like most of you guys say that you shouldn't cut brain control if you're playing upstarts in your deck, in your Blackwing deck. Interesting thought process, interesting ideas, interesting conclusions that, it's just interesting because like we could all have very differing opinions, but at the end of the day, only one person wins the tournament. And if it's right for that event, you can listen to 85% of people. What's up, Antonio? How you doing today? Shout out Antonio. That's my guy, dude. But yeah, if you listen to 85% of people who say, oh, never cut brain control, and then you show up to a tournament and you have brain control in your deck and maybe you lose the tournament because of it. I don't know if he lost because of it or won because of it or whatever, but maybe 85% of the people were wrong and they were for that one tournament, if that makes sense. Impossible to tell until hindsight, of course, but just food for thought, I guess. Moving on, we've got RBET IRL Fullerton. This was the smallest RBET of the season. The reason this RBET even existed is because I had never thrown an IRL tournament before in my entire life. Ever. I had never thrown an IRL tournament. This is something that was totally new to me. I got linked up with Lee Park, aka SoCal Retro Yugs, and Totagon. I went to a Card Addiction Edison tournament. They have a weekly series there that's incredibly fun. If you're in the area, definitely go check it out. Shout out Card Addiction. And I was like, look, I want to throw these big IRL RBETs, but I don't know what it takes. I need to have like experience doing this before I get into a bigger setting. I need to see what's up. And we need to do a test run. And the best way for us to do a test run is like do something in kind of a controlled space, put on an event like RBET Fullerton, as just kind of like, it served a couple of different roles, right? It served as practice for all three of us to run a really big tournament. It also served as sort of a marketing pitch to other stores if they wanted to throw an IRL RBET, that we could sell one out immediately, that we could fill up their store immediately if we wanted to. And then it also served as like kind of just a way to get the people who had been the realist. I haven't done Moreno yet, Hector. But this was the RBET Fullerton. This was a way for us to get the realist players all in one room. So something I think mentioned to people was I gave priority access signups to a lot of the top players for IRL RBET Fullerton. So that way we could have the highest density of top players. So even though it wasn't the biggest tournament, we would at least have as many top players as possible. This was the very first one. I wanted to make sure everyone who was like about it showed up to this tournament. And this tournament was so fucking stacked. Like, to give you an example of like how good these players were, the entire tournament, there was one judge call. The entire tournament. That's how good everyone in the room was. Like, this was definitely like the top of the top, like, competition of the year. This tournament was like basically an RBET Rulers. Carpath was there. Beast Mode was there. Raunic flew in from Ireland. Cameron came in from North Carolina. Murray was there. Fucking Fitz was there. Literally, like, half the people in the room had either won or topped an RBET before. So it was insane. And then on top of that, we had all the strongest players from SoCal. Like, we had all the best and strongest players from SoCal. So it was like the best region plus all of the top players from around the world came out to this one. And this one was, for me, kind of like one of the coolest, like, party style events. But yeah, it was definitely smaller, but I think you can't really discredit this one just because we did beforehand we thought about, we're like, okay, we don't want people to discredit it. We also don't want to fill it up with like totally people who don't know what they're doing. So what we should do is give priority invites to all of the top players and see if they want to come out to it. And a lot of them did. And it was really awesome. I know D2 was there. Just a lot of the players you see in the Discord who are really active, or the players who are constantly topping DDVs, RBETs, that sort of stuff. They all came out to this one. And so, yeah, let's just get into it. I think this is Beast Mode's top 8 list. Diva Zombies with triple Legacy of Yatagarasu, electing to move away from the DD Crow stuff that had been successful prior this year, but not for no reason. It looks like he's playing heavy back row, but instead of Starlight Road, he went with triple Legacy. I don't know how good that is. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know how good it was. It was good enough for him to top this event. He had a game on camera. You guys can go watch that match if you want to watch the stream again. RBET Fullerton stream. It was one of the 6 streams. It was 8 hours. Just one of the most smoothly ran tournaments. It actually finished earlier than it was supposed to because, once again, the caliber of player at this event was higher than anything. This was probably one of the most competitive Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments of all time. Like, and I'm not even like joking. Like, there was multiple players there who had topped Shonen Jump Championship Edison. There were multiple players there who, I can't even remember. But yeah, it was hype. It was fucking hype. So yeah, Beast Mode topped with Diva Zombies. That list was sick. I'm sure he has a full explanation on his channel that's much more thorough than mine is. You can go find that, I'm sure, on his channel. The next one was a Diva Hero Beat list. Is this Cameron? I think this was Cameron. Yeah, Cameron top 8'd with Diva Hero Beat playing double Thunder King Ryo. I think. I'm pretty sure this is Cameron's list. Could be wrong about that. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Cameron's there with me in the video, and with Raunik, of course. This was just an incredible weekend. This was like one of the best weekends of my life. Like, legit, it was so cool. And it was so cool because, like, up until this point, I live in Las Vegas. And I do not have, like, a local scene. I basically, like, play with my friends, and that's it. Pretty much. That's it. But going to this, I got to meet all of the people I had been playing with online, or most of the people I've been playing with online, in person for the first time. I've been hanging out with these guys like almost every single day for like the last 3 years. And it was just really, really cool. Cause like, I don't even know how to describe that. Like, if you have friends who are online friends, do any of you guys have friends who are online friends who you met in person for the first time? And you're like, I've been talking to this person for like the last 3 years. And like, now I get to meet them. Like, it's just a cool thing that, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, I don't know. It's like if you had like a pen pal or something. But instead of one, you had like hundreds of them. And you wrote them letters every single day. I don't even know how to put this into words. It's like, it's just crazy. It's just super crazy cool. You couldn't say no to going to Orlando for that exact reason. Yeah, exactly. It's like, we play this game every single day. Like, we spend more time with these guys than we probably spend with our family. Like, as crazy as that sounds. Like I see the Discord and these guys on the Discord probably more than I see my own parents at this stage in my life, which is obviously, that's like, I know these guys really well. I know their personalities. I know what they think is funny. I know, like, you know, what decks they like. I know how they play. Like, we're all just like a tight-knit family. Times2 was there. Oh my God, dude. Everyone was at this one. It was so hype. Am I still planning to do a tournament in Europe? Sadly, you couldn't attend any RBET in the US. I'm planning to. It is really hard for me to do it, Obsidian Rooster. It has been really challenging. First off, I don't speak anything other than English. So coordinating with some of the players or some of the business owners has been really difficult. So I'm talking to a few people right now, but I'm going to say tentative plans. Vegeta says there's no local in Vegas for Edison because there's a shop opening on the 26th in Vegas. Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, there wasn't one, though, this year. So that's what I'm saying. You had a friend you played PlayStation with for 7+ years and you finally met in person. That's awesome. That's so sick. Like, it's just a cool, like, it's just a cool feeling that I feel like only gamers really get to experience, I guess. Okay, moving on. I think this was Cameron's list. No, this was Cameron's list. Yeah, Cameron played Gores, I think. I don't fucking remember. But there were 2 in top 8. Diva Hero Beat is like one of the most popular decks in SoCal. I think it's like, one of them was a SoCal local player and one of them was Cameron's deck. I don't remember which is which. They're both the fucking same. Yeah, moving on. Where's the next list? Yeah, I think this one's Cameron's because it's the longest in the video, so he was probably just talking about it for an hour. The next one was Derek's Blackwing list. Hybrid Blackwing list. 2 Blizzard, 2 Shura, 2 Bora, triple Vayu, triple Sirocco, triple Grepher with Rhoda and Burial. Dark Bribe Maim. So one thing about this deck that I think was really sick was going into this tournament, Derek's actually a close friend of mine. He lives in Vegas. He's a player I played a lot with growing up. And so not only was I really happy that he topped, but this list is our other friend's list, who is Monster Gamer 13, who you guys might remember. He won an RBET last year with this exact same deck. So this is the exact same deck list that won an RBET last year. He basically just gave his deck to Derek because we're all like close friends. And Derek entered and topped again with the exact same deck. The one change he made was he added the Kinetic Cypher Soldier. I don't know what the card is called now. It's either Kinetic Soldier or Cypher Soldier to the sideboard, because going into this tournament, Monster Gamer was like, what's big in SoCal? We have a couple sideboard slots. And I was like, oh, Hero Beat. Hero Beat's like one of the most popular decks right now. And at the time of this tournament, 5 months ago, Hero Beat was actually the #1 deck being played over Blackwings. At this tournament, there was more Diva Hero Beat than Blackwings, if I remember correctly. It was just the most played deck at the moment. For some reason, I don't know why it got so popular. Like, the deck isn't like exceptional or anything, but it just got really popular out of nowhere for some fucking reason. And then I was like, oh, just side something for that. And they decided to side Kinetic Soldier last minute. And yeah, it like, he said it was amazing. He said he sided it in almost every single game, and it just like crushed for him. Derek did. So that's pretty hype. That's a cool, like, very targeted sideboard card that if you're metagaming against heroes, against Hero Beat in particular, it's something you might not think of that is really cool. So I like that. From his deck list, shout out to Derek. I'm happy Derek earned his invite. The next top 8 list was also Hybrid Blackwings. I believe this was Brother D or Daniel. He's like one of the top rated players in SoCal. He's really strong. But yeah, Hybrid Blackwings, once again. Hybrid Blackwings definitely showing up in these top 8s. You've noticed, like, RBET Rulers, it was the only Blackwing list in the top 8. At Deck Devastators, I'm not sure if either of these were hybrid. I think both of these were regular. And then RBET Season 1, I don't remember how many of these were Blackwings at all. I don't think there was any Blackwings in the top 8 of this one, was there? I don't think there was any Blackwings in the top 8 of RBET 1 Season 2. Yeah, there's no Blackwings. And then this one had regular Blackwings with triple Upstart, and then it had, I don't remember the other ones. What were the other ones? God damn it. Regular Blackwings with double value. It's about 50-50 in the tops. It's about half and half. But Hybrid Blackwings putting up two of the top 8 results here. Then we had Machina Gadgets in top 8 here. And a lot of you guys are looking at this thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, who let this guy top? But Enye is one of the strongest motherfucking players. Like, he's actually such a good player. He is built different, would not describe Enye. Like, built astronomically different. This guy top 8'd. I'm gonna tell you guys something. He went to Shonen Jump Championship Edison in 2010. He topped Shonen Jump Championship Edison with this exact deck. Left it in the deck box. Left the sleeves on it. Fucking 13 years later, gets signed up for RBET IRL Fullerton. Shows up with the exact same cards, the exact same sleeves, the exact same deck box that he topped SJC Edison with, and then topped this tournament again. Like, fucking crazy player. Like, that just goes to show that it doesn't matter. If you're based enough, you could do whatever your heart desires. And this list is crazy based. It's like fucking rivalry, 44 cards to, like, for some secret gadget math, some esoteric gadget math. I don't know what it is. But fucking nuts, man. Like, what a Chad. Like, an actual Chad player. What's crazy is we will see him again. We will see him again because he topped again this season. He topped again this season with the exact same deck. Okay, we'll get into it more later when we top again. But this list is fire. He has the Possessed Dark Soul to steal the dupe lock. He has the Needle Ceiling for the dupe lock. He has the Shadow Mirrors. He has the Breakers. He's got the Light Mirrors, the D-Fissures, which do conflict with Solidarity and Machina Fortress, but he factors that they probably are just good enough that they're worth citing. Just a crazy deck list. Crazy deck list. I believe his sideboard was different from the SJC, but I could be wrong. It could still be the same. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. All right, next place. Another hybrid Blackwings. Another hybrid Blackwings. So it was 3 hybrid Blackwings in the top 8 of this one. Just crazy. I don't remember who this was. This might have been Brother D. One of them is Brother D. One of them is someone else. This one also maining the Burial. It's just a way to min-max the Vayu plus Sirocco synergy. And if your Bora or Shura gets bottomless or Caius, you can return it to turn on your Blizzard, which Derek did say came up a lot for him in his matches. Like, his monster would get deprisoned, and then he'd be able to Burial to, like, turn on his Blizzards later in the game, which I think is pretty cool. That's, like, something that people don't think about with Burial. It's just returning a card in your graveyard to revive it later. This one, the sideboard is kind of cut off, but I'm sure it's not that different. Here it is. Yeah, 2 Skill Drain, 6 of the most standard cards, double Cyber Dragon, double D Crow, double Dust Tornado. Based event, yeah, it was the most stacked event. It was also like one of the least diverse events. It was almost entirely Hero Beat and Blackwings at the event. And yeah, at the end of the day, a couple of Hero Beat topped, a couple of Blackwings topped. Makes sense, but what ended up winning was actually this 43 card monstrosity. Oh my gosh, this guy is such a Chad. We interviewed him. You can go watch the interview. It's at the end of the stream. Just one of the strongest Frog players. He's like the strongest Frog player in the region. He literally like got surgery done, I believe, like the day before. Healed from his surgery like over that week. Came to the tournament and then crushed the whole thing. Really, really based player. He's got fucking techs out the ass. This is technically Hero Frog, but like, I don't know. So anyway, look at this deck list, right? This deck list is a Hero Frog deck list, quote unquote, right? It's got E-Call, so it's a Hero Frog. It's got Miracles. It's Hero Frogs, right? And then you've got this motherfucking guy commenting on my channel again. Let's just cut back to this again. Let's just cut back to this. He says, why do you make good lists terrible? What if I had played this list? What is this fucking idiot saying? You know what I mean? What is he saying about this list? Is he looking at 43 cards and saying like, that's it, this is the good list? The guy who sided Super Alloy Beast Raptinus. He had Super Alloy Beast Raptinus in his side deck. And he won the most stacked tournament of the year so far. Which is fucking crazy, by the way. I'm just going to say that. That's fucking crazy. That's metagaming. But you think this guy is saying this deck list looks good? You think this fucking moron? Oh my god. Every time I read a comment that's like that, I'm just like, dude, it just like stun locks me for a minute. I'm just like, bro, like how can you be that dumb? Like fucking shit. I'm like, I just copied a topping deck list. Anyway, but yeah, this deck list is based. It's so fucking nice. It's so fucking nice with it. He's got the E-Call, so he guarantees the Strato start. He's got Light and Darkness plus Dark Dust. The Dark Dust was huge for him throughout the tournament. He's got the random Turbo Rocket, because fuck it, we ball. Probably because he saw that Roundneck sauce, and he's like, yo, Turbo Rocket's kind of heat. And so he loaded up the Turbo Rocket for this event. He also had Flip Flop Frog, Tech. He had the Junk Synchron Tech. He had one enemy controller. He was playing Future Fusion. The sideboard Gaia is crazy. I don't know. I don't know who you are, but sideboard Gaia is insane. I don't know what you're citing it in against, but what a crazy performance from this player. Absolutely insane. You know what's crazy is like he beat like a field full of like really hostile matchups with this deck. Like just the most hostile, like the best players in the world, plus like all of the most like heavily like metagamed decks. And he just showed up with this 43 card like Giga Chad deck list. Like, yeah, I played 43 because I couldn't decide what to cut Kappa. Like, the way the cards are organized hurt your eyes. It won the tournament, bro. It won the tournament. Let the pain is good. The pain is good. Let the pain happen. Let the pain happen. So first place list. God, what is his name? What is his name? That's gonna bug me. I'm gonna listen to this real quick. Where is the first place list? Yeah, and speaking of a good player playing a good list, we have our first place list, which Raunik is gonna tell us all about. This is first place Frog Monarch Heroes with a Tech Turbo Rocket and Junk Synchron. So it's Frog Synchro Monarch Heroes. First place, 43 cards from Anthony. Oh my god, I can't. I think it's Anthony Poisano, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think his last name is Poisano. Really, really strong player. Really, really dope. RBET Fullerton winner. Hype shit. All right, moving on. The next qualifying event for RBET was actually the Italian Championship. I don't know if you guys remember that, because I didn't cover it. Mostly because I just didn't talk about it. But I did shout it out a couple of times. And the Italian Championship was basically going to be this big Edison event in Italy. And I knew based off of the way the schedule lined up at this point that Europe would not get enough qualifying opportunities. We did have one online RBET that was EU friendly, but Europe makes up about 20 to 30% of the Edison players. So I was like, let's do another qualifying event. Sadly, I don't have the deck lists like super pulled up. I don't know if this is all the deck lists. There's only 8 here, but it does say top 16. So I don't know if this is top 8 and that's just a typo, but there was a lot of value, a lot of Blackwings, basically. Some Frogs and more Blackwings. I think it was 6 value and Blackwing decks in the top 8. But these players did qualify for RBET Rulers. They will be able to play in Saturday's tournament. I don't know if it's these 8 players or if there's another top 16 8 deck list that wasn't these players. But one thing I do know about Italy is that they are obsessed with Blackwings. Like, to the point where, like, they said, like, nobody at their locals was playing Fairy at all. And I was talking to one of their players, and I was like, yo, you should play Fairy because it just beats up on Blackwings. He showed up to their locals, and he went, like, 6-0 with Fairies. And, like, won, like, back-to-back weekends with Fairies just because everyone there plays Blackwings. So I think Italy is, like, one of the biggest, like, Blackwing regions. The players there just love playing it. So it's pretty cool to see, like, see a different metagame on the other side of the world. Whereas, like I said, in SoCal, like, the number one deck in SoCal was Hero Beat, which I don't know. VJ Redline says, where are the fairy lists at? We covered them so far. We covered the RBET Rulers and the Deck Devastators first place. We already covered the fairies list. And the top 8 one from RBET 1 and the top 8 one from RBET Rulers, we covered them. But yeah, basically no one in Italy plays fairies. So yeah, this was a cool event. I didn't get to see the matches or the coverage for it. I think it was streamed, but it wasn't Italian. Check out Shuffle Deck Gaming. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. And I do want to touch up on the Karlsruhe tournament. This was not a qualifying event for RBET. I wish it was, but it was not. And the reason I want to shout this out is because this is like pretty close to Italy in Germany. 200 players, and the top 16 was like the most diverse top 16 I've ever seen. It was just 14 different decks, which is crazy. But yeah, this was a really cool tournament. I believe it was Flamvel versus Frogs in the finals. And I do want to touch on this because we are talking about the the biggest Edison tournaments of the year, RBET, and this is by far one of the biggest Edison tournaments of the year. It had Joshua Schmidt make top 4 with Quick Draw Hero, which was really cool. There was 2 anti-meta decks, 2 like stun quote unquote decks in the top 16 as well. A Glad deck made top 16, which is really cool because Glad's has yet to top an RBET at all. It's never topped an RBET. So it was cool to see it top one of the biggest tournaments and still like show that it has the potential to do that. There was one other tournament I wanted to show the top 8 to, but I forgot to pull it up. Basically, it was like a 97 player tournament. It wasn't an RBET qualifying event, but it was like one of the bigger tournaments of the year. But I'm not going to pull that up right now because I'm looking at the RBET stuff for That's the point of the stream is the RBET stuff. But I did want to touch on this because I thought it was cool to see this graph of like just 16 equal parts, and that's the top 8 basically. All right, moving on. RBET 3 Season 2. This is where things start to get pretty intense. Top 8, we got Hero, or not Hero. This is just Junk Frog, straight up. Man, I gotta start putting the names. Oh, I did for this one. This is Peanut. Diego, are you still here? Are you in the chat? Diego, tell us a little bit about your deck. Do you have the intel, Diego? Come on. I know you're here. I know you're still with us. He's here. What do you want to tell us about this deck? Tell me something. Why'd you play this? You like frogs. I know you like frogs. Thestalos goes crazy. True. This is the second top 8 appearance for Thestalos in the season. Is that all? Is this just it? That's just it? Just Thestalos goes crazy? All right. You know what? Well, fuck it. Thestalos goes crazy. This list looks really clean. He's got the Super Polys to make Raptinus an absolute 0. He's got the Soul Release to banish opposing Treeborn Frogs. A bunch of like unique trap card techs, like Compulsory Deprison in the sideboard, just to mix people up, throw them off the trail. Triple Vanities, Double Sirocco. Really solid stuff. It looks similar to Karina's top 8 deck list from DDV. Let's take a look at Karina's one more time so we can kind of A and B these. Yeah, Karina has more Junk Synchron, less Battle Fader. But I think that's like the big difference. Hold up. Let's take a look at this. 2 Soul Exchanges versus 2 Gold Sarks, actually. Karina also elected to play Dark Arm Dragon and Allure, but Dark Arm Dragon and Allure are not present in Diego's list. Jonathan says, what's Scapegoat for? Just Synchro plays? Synchro plays, but also if you go end phase Scapegoat and then summon Substitoad, you can get a +4. You get 4 monsters in play. You get double dupe frog, Substitoad, plus 2 other frogs. You can grab Unifrog and Swamp Frog. So it's insane with Substitoad. Yo, thank you so much for gifting memberships. Enraged Peacock, you're the realist. If you were gifted a membership, enjoy the members-only content and the members-only emotes. And also, thank you for becoming a member for 15 months in a row. Enraged Peacock is the OG. He's actually a really, really powerful duelist. He's out here crushing it. But yeah, sick stuff from Diego. Moving on, next deck list. Diego, very powerful frog duelist. Black Wings from Yondame. This is his second top. So this was his second top. I can't remember what he topped with the first time. I think it was also Black Wings. I think it was the same list with the double legacy. Yeah, very strong player. Yondame is, I don't know if I'm even pronouncing his name right, but very, very strong player. All right, next one. Oh, I had a little bit of Moreno Valley or Orlando plug in that one. That's crazy. I was plugging in the top 8. This is the one everyone wants to see. It's fucking Neospatian shit. Single Pack asks, are you Palestinian? I am Iranian. If you are asking me, I'm an Iranian American, if that's what you're asking. But I do stand with Palestine. I believe in the free Palestine cause. And I think that what's happening to the people in Gaza right now is inhumane. So if that's what you're asking, I have provided you with that. That's why we have the Palestinian flag. That's why I have gone to all of the protests in my area. That's why I'm out here, just hopefully educating people about it a little bit. But yeah, you are Palestinian. Free Palestine, Single Pack. Free Palestine. Anyway, yeah, on to the deck list. This is the Neospatian deck list that top 8'd. RBET 3 Season 2. This is cash money. This is cash money deck list. It is terrible. I mean, I have played this deck, but it is really it is something. Okay, hear me out. It is something that this deck has topped and Gladiator Beast hasn't topped in RBET. So I've got a question for you guys. Oh, that's a Q&A. That's not what I want. I want a poll. Which deck is better? Question mark. Glads or Neospatian Dark Simorgh Turbo Chaos? Which deck is better? One of these decks has topped an RBET. One of these decks has not topped an RBET. Actually, one of these decks has topped 2 RBETs. And that was the Neospatian deck. The Neospatian deck has 2 tops. Glad's at 0. Absolutely ratio. Glad players seething right now. They're just like looking at their super bestiari. The stocks are dropping. The stocks are dropping as we speak. The super bestiari is hitting all-time lows. They're going for like $20. They're just like, what? You can't sell the champion pack. You can't give away the champion pack bestiari. And Rage Peacock says, you're 3-0 versus me with Gladiator Beasts. Was I playing Gladiator Beasts? I believe I was, right? You were playing Hero Beat? Yeah, you destroyed me when I was playing Glads. It was not close. And I was just like, man, how does this deck exist? Like, how is this the main selling point of a booster pack? How did people ever lose to Glads is the real question. One of these decks has Darks and Morgue, so your choice is easy. The choice apparently isn't that easy. It's a very close poll. Get your votes in now. Get your votes in now. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. That is crazy. Worst DRE, not best DRE. That's hilarious. Yeah, but this deck list is tight. The way it works is you use Convert Contact to either send Air Hummingbird and Dark Panther or Dark Panther and Glomoss to set up for either your Debris Dragon or your Chaos Sorcerer or your Darks and Morgue. KJH says hater. Ooh, 0 tops though, KJH. 0 tops, Kalindi. I don't see your RBET tops, bro. When are you gonna play in an RBET? Is that gonna be? You gotta skip Melee one weekend to play in RBET, bro. I'm just saying. We'll give you some coverage. I'll shout out your channel. All the stuff you're doing, the save states. Ooh, you'll get the plug, dude. You'll get the plug. You gotta play in an RBET, bro. Even Stango played in one. I'm drinking the Haterade. Oh, dude, Glad sucks. My tournament record versus Glads is undefeated right now. And I've played against them more than I've played against Blackwings for some reason. Anyway, I'm ending the poll. Clear winner, Neospatian, better than Glads. Speaking of Melee legends, oh shit, Zach Maitland in the chat? What's up, Zach Maitland? You guys know DJ Zach Maitland? We got some real ones hanging out. Anyway, Neospatian. Top 8 list. Kind of a vibe. What else we got? What was next? Oh, Diva Hero. Yeah, Diva Hero. Of course. This one was... Who topped with this? Chai T. Yeah, Chai T topped with this. This is very similar to the Hero Beat. You like that E3 Biden emote, Joseph S? That's a good one. Zach Maitland is all about that E3 Biden emote. Anyway, fucking... I've got IRL Jinzo. I did an IRL Jinzo video for members only, like last week, yes. And you guys can check that out if you just got gifted a membership. This list is tight. It looks like a true hero style list, but it's got the Spirit Reaper. How do you Biden emote? Oh, you have to be a member. You're just not a member, Zach. You're just not cool enough to be a member. This video got a ton of dislikes. Why did this video get so many dislikes? I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. Maybe people were mad. Maybe they were mad that Neospatian... Oh, I know what it is. It's all the Gladiator Beast players. That's why this video got so many dislikes, because Neospatian's topped and Gladiator Beast didn't. Oh, that must be what it is. Kalindi logged into all 20 of his accounts and disliked on all 20 accounts. Anyway... Yeah, this list is tight. It's got the Reaper. It's got the Deep Prison Bottomless. No discard trap. So very different from what we saw even at the beginning of the season, I believe. Where were we? We were here, weren't we? Yeah, we were here. Okay, yeah. Super Polys for the Hero Mirror. As heroes became more and more popular, Super Poly became more and more of a pick. You notice Dad and Armageddon Knight coming in and out of Diva Hero lists. Or are they just bricky? I think some people have, not some people, but more people have moved more towards Dark Grepher than Armageddon Knight, because Dark Grepher plus Stratos is an OTK setup. So if you have like Dark Grepher, Stratos, and like Plague or some shit, that's an OTK setup. And Dark Grepher is better if you don't have Wind Blast. If you have Wind Blast, I think Armageddon Knight is better, but if you don't have Windblast, Dark Grepher is better because if you look at this deck list, no, there's nothing you can do with the drawn Malicious. So if you draw Malicious, it's just stuck in your hand. So you have to have a way to get it out of your hand. And Dark Grepher is the best way to do that. That's where I was. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But Armageddon Knight I think it's better if you have the Wind Blasts, because you can just go Armageddon, send Malicious, or send Plague, or whatever. Pretty much. I think Armageddon Knight overall is probably worse than Grepher in Diva Hero. It's also better if you are facing deck dev, I think. I could be wrong. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. All right, next deck list. Where were we? Next deck list. Blackwings. Oh, this one was weird. This was a True Heroes Blackwing list. Yeah, this one was weird because it was triple value, no Grepher. Every time I see a True Heroes deck list, I'm like shocked that it topped. But this one is really weird. It's triple book, no Grepher. I did like this list. He's really about that deck dev main deck life, which I think at the time was not good. Like, genuinely, like, the most popular deck was Hero Beat and Blackwings at the time. And so I think main decking deck dev was just kind of not the best, but it made him all the way at top 8. So I don't know. I think this list is very interesting. Having triple value is very interesting. Do I think it's good? Without Grepher, it's kind of bricky. I would rather not be drawing double value in my deck with no Grepher. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Now, I got a question for you guys, because we've seen a couple of different, like, kind of sus Blackwing decks. Which one of these do you think is worse? Triple value, no Grepher, or triple upstart, no brain control? Which is worse? I'm curious, because, like, I feel like drawing double value is how you lose games with Value Turbo. Like, that's how you lose games. Like, isn't that just, like, worse? I don't know. I don't even know. It just doesn't... Looks like most people are saying triple upstart with no brain control is better than triple value, no Grepher. Well, statistically speaking, the triple upstart, no brain control did win the tournament, so results-wise, it is better. But yeah, 3 value is so strange. Yeah, 3 value Gore. Well, I think Gores is good. Don't hate on Gores. All right, my boy Gores is a good card, especially when you have deck dev. It's just another deck dev target that you can open with. So I think Gores is good. I just think triple value is so weird. It's like, at what point are you thinking, like, I want the 3rd value in this deck? Like, why is that? I feel like that can't be right. It's like you're adding the 3rd value before you're adding the first bottomless? That's... What? Like, that's crazy. That's just crazy. I'm not in this pool. This was a strange top 8 list for me, personally. All right, next one. It's a True Hero, so he's a great player. I can't knock him. He's topped every single fucking event, but this list was sus. Next list, Blackwings. This one looks more stereotypical. He was on the 1 Starlight Road. This was the one, oh, I remember this one. Duck Tracy with the enemy controller. Yeah, I really liked this list. I actually really like enemy controller. I think enemy controller is a cool card. I think more and more decks should be teching it. We saw it in Feng Shui's top 8 quick draw list as a tech one of, and we see it here in Duck Tracy's, I believe this is what, 3rd place deck list? 3rd place Blackwing deck list with the tech enemy controller. I do like that card a lot. I think that's a cool tech. I think it's very slept on, at the very least. Just because it, like, I don't know. People don't realize this, but switching a monster to defense position is pretty fucking good. Like, especially in the deck that pierces hella, you know? So, I kind of like it. And then just being a brain control off Blizzard is really nice, too. Next deck. Oh, I remember this one. 1st place Ghost Rider. So Duck Tracy made it to 2nd place with enemy controller. Yeah, Ghost Rider won the tournament with his innovative Dragon Turbo deck list. This was such a treat to watch. If you haven't already watched all of the Ghost Riders matches that we covered in the tournament, definitely go back and watch them, because watching him play this deck was like watching someone paint a masterpiece. It was like so cool. The way he did like non-OTK setups with this deck, but like was able to achieve a stronger position. The way he like played around so many different things when he was working with very low like recursion, only the one Avarice, only one Heavy Storm, no Giant Trunade. The way he played through back row with this list was very skillful. Because he didn't have that Giant Trunade and he elected to just like play through back row, it was super cool to watch. He has the Vortex Trooper and the Triple Reckless. I think he was the first one to top with those techs. I think Vortex Trooper and Reckless before did not see as much coverage, as much love. Vortex Trooper has a couple of strengths. It basically lets you mulligan with the deck, which in a deck where you only need like one or two cards to get going, one or two specifically cards to get going, Vortex Trooper giving you that mulligan is just like a larger number of live hands, which I think is an incredible innovation. Not only that, but it sticks around and draws you another card after it dies, and then if it does die, which it will, because it has 0 attack, you can summon Debris Dragon and nuke the field because it's a debris target, and it lets you make Black Rose. So I think that this was one of the sickest deck lists to see, I think, all year, and one of the most innovative. We hadn't seen a lot of these techs or a lot of these choices before in this deck. Already, Dragon Turbo is one of those decks that's like, it's a more recent invention. Hydro Pump invented the deck, I think like 2 years ago. Like, it's one of those decks that didn't exist in 2010. People did not play this deck list or this style of deck where you set up the 2-turn OTK at all. This type of like turbo rejuvenation deck list didn't exist in 2010. Or if it did, people were trying to draw Exodia because they didn't really have that modern mindset of things, of Exodia pieces being bricks. Danny asks me in the comments right now, what are my thoughts on modern Yu-Gi-Oh? I think Yu-Gi-Oh right now is interesting. It is very convoluted. It is very like deeply inside itself. The amount of knowledge you have to even play the game is ridiculous. Even playing retro or simpler formats, you need to have a lot of ruling knowledge. But to have, like, the amount of knowledge you need to have to play modern Yu-Gi-Oh is already impressive. It's just a shitload of memorization, which I think for me is the biggest deterrent from me playing more modern Yu-Gi-Oh. I think because there's so much memorization involved and so much of just like micro brain taxing, I think that like the game is worse as a result of that. It's less about playing your opponent and more about study, which I think is not what games are often about. But I do really like some of the decks in Modern. Like, I like some of the decks so much that I have them built in paper. I built Dragon Link in paper. I've built Drytron in paper. I've built Branded Bestial in paper. I've built... I've quite a few Modern decks built. I've only ever played Dragon Link in tournament. And I loved it. I like had a great time. That deck is one of the coolest ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So those are my thoughts on Modern. And speaking of Modern, I think this deck list... this style deck, is one of the more modern style Edison decks. It's a combo deck, and it's a cool combo deck because it's not just a combo deck that just ends the game in one turn. It's a combo deck that takes several turns to get set up. It's like an interactive combo deck, if you will, and it's sort of like, it plays to me less like a modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Combo deck where they just set up 5 negates or they OTK you in one turn. But it plays more like a Pokemon deck. Like a Pokemon stun lockout deck. That's how I feel like Dragon Turbo plays. It feels like playing Pokemon. Because you're going to do your thing, right? And your opponent's going to do your thing. And it's all about how you can navigate the positions. Ghost Rider says if you're a fan of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! You'll enjoy Dragon Turbo. Yes, but I think even more so, if you're a fan of modern Pokemon, you'll enjoy Dragon Turbo. Or if you're a fan of Pokemon TCG, you'll enjoy Dragon Turbo. Because not only do you have the card draw like you do in Pokemon, but you also have like these multi-turn layered setups that I think is a skill that's really common in Pokemon, where you're trying to set up like 4 or 5 turns in advance. But you don't necessarily have that as much in Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, because of trap cards and interaction on that level, and negates and stuff like that. But I think if you enjoy the Pokemon aspect of playing the game, which is like very positional, you'll enjoy Dragon Turbo. And I think, yeah, Ghost Rider did a very good job with this. He cooked. Press 1 if Ghost Rider cooked. All right, moving on. That was about halfway through the season. Then we start getting into the crazy shit. About halfway through the year, RBET Moreno Valley. And this is where, like, I feel Edison changed. Like, up until this point, Edison was, like, a very much online game. It was very much like, we go online, we go on Discord, we play this format, this is what happens. RBET Moreno Valley showed that, like, this is a game that we play in paper. This is a game that, like, we're supposed to meet up with people and hang out and have a good time and create memories. And one of my favorite parts about this picture is if you zoom in on this picture, every other person just has the biggest fucking smile on their face. And they're just all happy. And I took this picture without telling anyone. I just ran out, pulled out my phone, snapped a screenshot, ran back into the commentary room. That's just how good of a time all these people were having hanging out and just playing this game. The energy at RBET Moreno Valley was... Yeah, this changed the game for sure. For sure changed the game. After this, we had Nats, or Nats might have been before this. I don't fucking remember. But we had Nats. We had I lost my train of thought. Wait, you still got an ad, Joseph? I think if you refresh the stream, it might not give you those ads. Oh shit! I accidentally pressed play on the video. Fuck, my bad. What was I talking about? What was I talking about? I lost it. I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh, Edison format. That's right. RBET. That's right. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. RBET Moreno Valley. Yeah. Around this time, people were like, oh shit, this is legit. Like, this is like people are these people are real. as a way to put it. Like, these people are going to come out. These people are going to show up. They're going to put on for this event. They're going to come make friends. They're going to create memories, create stuff. And this for me was like, fuck, I'm getting a call. Give me a sec. Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? I'm live right now. It's Monster Gamer. Can I tell them that I'm talking to Monster Gamer right now? Is that cool? Yo, what's up? So I'm live right now. I'm just finishing up this stream. We're gonna talk about like the top 8 list this year, and then I got a shower, and then I'm gonna come link with you, and we're gonna play some Yu-Gi-Oh. Is that okay? Yeah, I'll hit you up as soon as I'm off stream. Should be in like maybe a little under an hour.
Okay, cool.
All right, later, bro. You guys already know. You guys already know what we're doing tonight. You guys already know it's Wednesday night Yu-Gi-Oh, baby. It's Wednesday night Yu-Gi-Oh. Anyway, speaking of linking up with friends, but yeah, this was really sick. So let's get into it. We got Majid Khan, GOAT. He topped with his signature Diva Hero beat with no spark, no I forget it. No spark, no hero blast. Enraged Peacock says, how did this get 26 dislikes? You don't understand the algorithm. I think you just you underestimate my haters. There are people who, when they see pictures of people smiling and they see you putting on an event for a community, people get mad. I don't know why. It's like the people who want to see you fail get extra angry. I think that's what it is. But yeah, Majid Khan, he innovated. This is like kind of a combination deck list of some of the deck lists we've seen earlier in the season. One of the decks that this is very similar to is actually this deck list here, the Evil Hero deck list. But instead of playing the Evil Heroes, what he did was just played like generic cards and divas. And he focused on the 2 Prisma engine to send Ocean to guarantee that Miracle Fusion is live. Played Mind Crush, which is, in his words, not mine, Trap Dust Shoot, but for heroes, basically, which makes sense because they e-call for Stratos, and then you mind crush the Stratos, and it's like perfect. You stop the Stratos from happening. Dust Shoot, all the power traps, all the power spells, and then just all the consistency cards that you could have in one deck. Prisma also gives you extra access to Cyber Dragon Game 1, which helps you versus the Lightsworn Machina deck, which can actually be a really difficult deck for this deck to face. So, really cool deck list. He actually just got second place at a PS5 tournament, winning a Nintendo Switch with the exact same deck list. So this deck list not only has a top-aided RBET Moreno Valley, but it got second place it won a Nintendo Switch. So this guy, like in terms of like actual earnings, has won more than most people will ever win with a deck in this format, which is crazy. So money-wise or like winnings-wise, one of the most successful hero deck lists. Enraged Peacock says, how is Mindcrush ruled IRL? So basically, if not all the legal copies are accounted for, you have to reveal. Like, let's say I Mindcrush and I name Elemental Hero Stratos and you discard it. You don't have to reveal because there's only one Stratos in the format. If I Mindcrush and I name, let's say, D Prison and you discard one, then you have to reveal your hand because you could have more. And then if you call Mindcrush and they don't have the card, they also still have to reveal. So let's say they discard nothing, they have to reveal as well. So as long as all legal copies are accounted for, let's say 2 D Prison are in the graveyard, you call D Prison, they discard the 3rd D Prison, they wouldn't have to show you because all 3 legal copies are accounted for. So as long as all of the legal copies are accounted for, you don't reveal. But if you can't account for all legal copies, you reveal. And the same is true for Royal Tribute as well. Royal Tribute, you do reveal. And I do believe Nobleman of Crossout, you do reveal deck IRL. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's ruled. Nobleman of Crossout, Nobleman of Extermination, you should reveal the decks. I know you can Gentleman's not reveal, but I'm pretty sure the way it's ruled is that you do have to reveal. Moving on. Deck list is sweet. I think he did a great job. You've seen arguments one way or the other. There's no argument at the Konami events and at my events. That's how Mindcrush will be ruled. Basically. All right. Next one. Diva Hero Beat. Once again, most popular deck. I don't remember who this was. In IRL Ultimate Time Wizard, you didn't reveal. You asked the judge at YCS Indy. Then they made a mistake. They made a mistake because I've talked to the head of whoever at Konami, and that you're supposed to reveal to avoid cheating, basically. But there have been so many mistakes at the Ultimate Time Wizard events, and the reason being is because I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but if I do, whatever. Basically, in their hiring process, they have to hire judges, but they can't hire like specifically. They can't hire specifically Edison judges. They have to hire like judges, and they can't assign specifically Edison judges to the event. They just assign judges. So there have been some really bullshit rulings happening at the Ultimate Time Wizard events, which is not a fault of the judges. I think the judges are just doing the best they can with what they can. It's just the nature of their hiring process, which has complicated things. I've talked to them about it. I've talked to them about ways of improving it. I now have a judge test that was developed by pseudoscientists that we're working to get integrated with maybe with the people that we hire for IRL RBETs to make sure that they're competent in the time-specific rulings. But it's a large mess for like rulings at IRL tournaments. And once again, when I say that it is the worst part of Yu-Gi-Oh, I fucking mean it. Rulings in Yu-Gi-Oh have caused like legitimate like staff issues. Like it's the biggest issue with the game. It's the reason why you can't just like throw a pop-up retro Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, because you have to have like this fucking advanced knowledge of like what happened in 2010. And like the errata and the way they've changed the rulings over the years has only made it more and more complicated. Like they've just dug their own grave in a lot of ways. And so it's a tough situation. I'll just say it that way. But yeah, Diva Hero Beat, I don't remember who topped with this. What was the other one? Next one. Hero Frogs. Wow, this deck list looks crazy. 2 E-Call as a way to find Stratos. Miracle Regeki Break. Solid stuff. Did you know Sirocco Pump is permanent? Yeah, that's one of the rules they made at an Ultimate Time Wizard event. You know what they also ruled at an Ultimate Time Wizard event is that you can keep bringing back Drill Warrior under Royal Oppression, which is fucking crazy. They also made a ruling that you could priority activate Bryonic if you used Goblin Zombie to Synchro Summon for it, which you obviously can't because Goblin Zombie starts a fucking chain. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. There were so many bad rulings. Anyway, yeah, Hero Frogs. Pretty standard looking deck list. Looks pretty similar to the one I played in today's video. So if you want to see more Hero Frog action, go watch that video. Actually, this list looks almost identical to the one I played in today's video. There's like 1 or 2 card difference. I wasn't playing E-Call. I wasn't playing Torrential. But I was playing like a third Battle Fader. I was maining the Unifrog. And I was playing the second Malicious Edge. So yeah, like 3 differences between this deck list and the one I played in today's video. Which, again, makes comments like this one so fucking crazy. Because it's like, why do you make good lists terrible? Bro, what did I change? Like, literally, I also didn't change it. I copied a different topping list. But, like, if you look at lists that have topped, it's, like, exactly the same as the one I played in the video. People are so fucking stupid. Holy shit. Anyway, moving on. Oh, my gosh. Moving on. Frogburn. Frogburn made it to top 4. Two Eyes Mauled Dragon strikes again. I know, right? Frogburn strikes again. But this time with less of the burn stuff and more of the frog stuff. This is Homam Jamal, one of the most powerful SoCal players. He's a big fan of this deck. He recently played it in a PS5 tournament. He was trying out a card that people have been talking about, Teva, but he said it was not that great when he played it at the PS5 tournament. I had the pleasure to finally meet him in person. He was at this event, but I didn't get a chance to meet him in person, which I was kind of sad about because he's a player who's been at a lot of events that I've also been at, and I've wanted to meet him for some time, and I finally got a chance to meet him a couple weekends ago, and just a really nice guy. Like, I have nothing but nice things to say about Homam Jamal. Really cool dude. Strong player. Very fucking strong player. And he took Raunak's Frogburn deck that topped at the beginning of the year, RBET 1 Season 2. Let's go ahead and check out the lists from the beginning of the year that Raunak had, that he topped with, and let's compare the differences. He cut the 2 Lava Golems, Magic Cylinder, and the Marshmallow, and in its place, he has Soul Exchanges, he has Light and Darkness Dragon, Vanity's Fiend. So he has just more consistently powerful cards with less of the burn synergy, but still a very Frog Burn Raunak style deck list with the triple threat, double Wabaku, triple Turbo Rocket. It's much less like the list that we saw that won IRL Fullerton, which just had the 1 Turbo Rocket as a tech and was more hero focused. This is definitely a Frog Burn deck list. So the second top 8 for Frog Burn. I know this deck was also kind of crushing side events in the hands of Jaina at one of the side events at I believe it was one of the YCSs. So the deck has had it's had a good year. For a deck that didn't exist last year, it's had a good year. And also I think Raunak just really knocked it out of the park with this deck's sort of design. Spammable Ring of Destruction is incredibly strong no matter what format you're in. All right, moving on. Value Turbo. I believe this was Rex Mendoza. That doesn't sound right. Yeah, no, that might be right. Rex Mendoza, and then I believe this was Oscar was the next place. This Value Turbo list looks like the previous Value Turbo list that topped with Lila, but he only has 2 Greffer instead of the 3rd, and he has no Chaos Sorcerer. He's elected to play Regeki Break over the 3rd Greffer, and he elected to play double D-Prison over Chaos Sorcerer and one of the Oppressions mained. He's got that main deck Enemy Controller, which again, I think is a card we'll see teched in a lot of successful lists. We've seen it teched in 3 topping lists this year. It's a really slept on card. Pick up your Ultimate Rares while they're still kind of affordable. The card it's just a great tech card. It's basically a second Brain Control in a lot of cases. Like, you can flip Hamster, grab a Raikou, then use Enemy Controller, sack your Hamster, steal a monster. Like, that's really good, you know? Like, fuck it. Maybe your Armed Wing can't get over something, but you can go Armageddon, send Armed Wing, or send Vayu, make an Armed Wing, Enemy Controller, sack your Armageddon, take their best monster, OTK them. Like, fuck it. Like, that's tight. Like, there's a lot of really cool applications with this card. And I do expect to see more of it teched in the future. Just having a second copy of Brain Control is really good. And then also, like, it's kind of like, if you've ever played Magic the Gathering, there's a card I want to talk about that's like similar, called Abzan Charm. So this is maybe not the best example. No, this is not a good example. What's a good example of a charm? Golgari Charm. That's a good example. Okay, we'll do Golgari Charm. So Golgari Charm is a card in Magic the Gathering that says choose one, and it has 3 different effects. Now, all of the effects are on their own shitty. Like, on their own, having 3 of the, like, if you had one card that just said all creatures get -1/-1 and it was 2 mana, like, that'd be a shitty card. So, for example, if we go back to Enemy Controller, think about it this way. If it just said switch a monster to defense, that card would suck. If it just said sacrifice a monster, take a monster, that card would suck. But the reason the card is good is not because it has one shitty effect. It's because it gives you the option. And having those options and having like the versatility and game plan to be able to use it as a defensive card or an offensive card. Golgari Charm maybe not isn't the best example. I think maybe Boros Charm would be a better example. I'm sure there's a better charm example that has like regenerate creature or like defend your life total or steal a creature or something like that, which would be more fitting. But basically, Enemy Controller is like a charm. It's if you've played Magic the Gathering, you understand why the charms are good. It's kind of hard to explain to a Yu-Gi-Oh player, but basically, the more options you have on a card, the better. And the more different lines you have on a card, the better. If a card can be used defensively and offensively, it fills 2 roles, which is obviously more versatile than a card that only fills one of those roles. It's good when you're winning. It's also good when you're losing. It's good when you need to win. It's also good when you need to not lose. Basically, versatility over raw power is usually very highly valued, especially at the top level of play. All right, moving forward. That's Vayu Turbo. Siding Mobius, which I think is a cool side card for this deck. It's like an extra heavy storm. A lot of cool stuff happening here in Rex Mendoza's list. Next top 8 list was... I think this was Oscar. I think this was a second place list. I think this was Oscar's list. He is back on the Armageddon Knight. No Greffer, because he does have that Wind Blast. So like I said earlier, if you have Wind Blast, you don't really need Greffer. Vice versa. If you have Greffer, it's probably because you're not playing Wind Blast. 41 cards. I don't know why. He said it worked best for him. I will say Oscar is the GOAT at this deck. Like I know a true hero is really good at this deck, and he's topped a lot of events. But Oscar, I think winnings-wise, has won the most. I think he's won 4 PS5s with this deck. I could be wrong on that number. I think it's like 4 PS5s and a Nintendo Switch or something like he's won like the most tournaments with Diva Hero. And so to see him almost win, it would have been really cool to see him win, obviously, just because like of the storyline. But I think it's funny because second place got a PS5. So it's funny because he just won another PS5. So I think it fits perfectly that an absolutely grueling tournament. It was all done in one day. 8 rounds plus top 16. So he had to play 11 rounds of this tournament. Cannot shout him out enough. Really, really strong player. He said Prohibition was the MVP for him. It came in almost every single match, and he said it won him every game he drew it. So I do want to shout out him using Prohibition. And you'll notice that Prohibition was also in the first place list as well, from Martin Lara, or, as you know, I lost my train of thought. Celiabot. So, user from the Discord. Now this one I think got me the most annoying online commenters, because what happened in the tournament on the stream was Martin made a mistake in one of the games, and everyone was like, Martin cheated, and everyone just like immediately says like Martin cheated, and it's like, bro, he just made a mistake. It's been the stream for the tournament is in 2 parts because it was so long. YouTube ended the stream. Like, YouTube has a 12-hour limit on the streams that you can run. The tournament was 14 hours long, start to finish. It was a fucking marathon. And the dude made a mistake in like round 11 or some shit. And like people went crazy in the chat. And like, it's just crazy how like people will see one thing and their monkey brain will like run with a narrative that just isn't real. And yeah, he definitely did not like intentionally cheat or anything, and it was reversed by a judge, and it didn't end up mattering. It didn't change the game state at all. Like, all of this stuff is like crazy, but it got me the most insane amount of comments. And I saw this recently too with a player. Do you know Pack? Do you guys know Pack? Press 1 if you know Pack. Do you guys know Pack? Let's be real. You guys know Pack. There's no way you don't know Pack. There's no way you don't know who that is. It happened recently with him. He was on stream. He made a mistake, like a totally understandable mistake. And I'll tell you guys the mistake. The mistake was he end phase discarded Red Eyes Wyvern to hand size, and then he activated the Red Eyes Wyvern. That was the mistake. I didn't even know that ruling. I didn't even know you couldn't do that. Like, I play this game every day. Like, that's fucking normal as shit. You know what I mean? And then there was another moment where he had lethal anyway, but he activated Red Eyes a second time after like 16 actions. And it was like, he had lethal anyway, it didn't matter. So like everyone online was like going crazy about it. Yeah, you can't discard Wyvern to hand size, then activate the Wyvern. You can't do that. Yeah, like that's just like, it's just one of those things where it's like, how are you supposed to fucking know that? You know what I mean? Like, and people, and I guarantee you all the people online, every single one of the people who was like, he cheated, wouldn't have known that. They wouldn't have known that. If you put them in that situation, they would have made the same mistake. So it's like fucking crazy that people are like think that sort of thing is intentional. It's like, it absolutely not. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it definitely, we had the best judges on there. You know what I mean? Yo, Shorty B says, Dragons is unfortunately very, very easy to cheat with. You're doing the thing. You said cheat. Cheat is not the right word. Make mistake is the right word. Cheat implies intent. Cheat implies intent. If that makes sense. Cheating has this negative connotation where it implies that I maliciously want to break the rules in a malicious way to gain victory or gain an advantage. Whereas like making a mistake is like, that's more neutral. That's like, oh, I just messed up. I didn't know the ruling. You know what I mean? Yeah, anyway. He did receive the same warning we give to everyone else too. And that's what happens when you make a mistake. The guy was trying to trag steal twice in one turn versus you on stream. Definitely wasn't cheating, but glad you caught it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that happened on your stream too. He just forgot he used trag. Yeah, that was in a different. That was in RBET Orlando. That was a different opponent. But yeah, that guy wasn't cheating. But because you're aware of the rules and how the cards work, you knew what was up. Ace of Spades says, what is going to win Rulers? Shout out Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades was the player who got second at the Deck Devastators qualifier that we mentioned earlier with DD Warrior Lady Dragons. Very based. Very based second place finish. What is going to win Rulers? I don't know. I knew last year because ProStorm and I had talked for like weeks before the event about like how to build fairies. Like we built that list together. I sent him a couple of the texts. He tested it like crazy. Nab says, loving the RBT ruler concept. Excited to see everyone play this weekend. Hopefully can compete in more Edison tournaments next year. Love to hear that, Nab. Would love to see you at the RBETs next year. But this year, I don't know because I haven't been working as closely with the top players. And I think they're being more and more secretive about it, about what they're going to bring. No information is really going around. It's not really circulating. Before we make predictions, we need to know if ProStorm is playing. Yeah, that's right. I don't know if ProStorm is playing or not. I think he is, but I'm not sure. If ProStorm wins back-to-back, there's definitely a GOAT discussion. Then we can start having the GOAT discussion. I think I think ProStorm is definitely in contention for the RBET GOAT. We'll get into that in a second though. Martin Lara, awesome first place list, Moreno Valley, and then at this point, after this tournament was done, Edison is real. Like this was the like, okay, this shit is real moment. This is like, we got fucking hundreds of people to come out. We threw this insane event. We had like a taco truck. It was so fucking cool, dude. Like I can't even tell you how fucking cool this event was for me. It was like this shit is real, dude. like all that stuff we had been like dicking around on Discord and like joking about, like all that stuff, like, oh, I'm gonna throw an Edison YCS. Just like having that goal and like pushing for it and like seeing it come to life was, oh, it's just so fucking cool. I cannot tell you how cool this tournament was. It was very exciting to see something like Dragon Turbo win back to back. Because then it's like you have this new, like, sort of, this new big dog in town. Like, holy shit, Dragon Turbo just won back-to-back fucking massive tournaments. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. It's this deck that, like, didn't top anything until then. The entire season up until this point, Dragon Turbo did not top. And then it got back-to-back wins. That's fucking nuts. That's so crazy. Okay, moving on. Ghost Rider says, when you first started playing Dragon Turbo, you had no idea about the ruling. After you found out the ruling, you stopped playing the card. Exactly. When you first start playing it, you don't know. You know what I mean? Okay, moving on. RBET 4, Season 4, Top 8. This is where things were a little bit frustrating for me personally. Because after Moreno Valley, how do you go back? Joseph, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the red meta emote. I'll get a dragon emote going. Maybe a future fusion one. I don't know. We'll see. How do you go back? Like, how do I go back online? You know, after this, how do we go back to online? You know what I mean? It's like, once you have something, it's really hard to go back to something. And RBT4, sadly, was a disappointment for a lot of reasons for me personally. The big one was that challenge crashed. And the second one was that it was a week before Orlando. So I was like pretty unprepared to do this stream. Was it before Orlando or after Orlando? I don't even remember. Do you guys remember? I think it's before. Yeah, it was a week before Orlando. And it was just like, how do I focus on this? You know what I mean? How do I focus on the online stuff? And like make it a good experience. Like when like, this is what we just came from. Like, this is like, so it's like, you just can't go back. You know what I mean? That being said, I do want to shout out these players who got top 8 because their lists were fire. They were so fire. And it kind of like reignited my joy for the online tournaments because you don't really see as quick of an innovation IRL as you do online. Online, people are much more quick to innovate deck lists or like change them up and stuff. In person, people have their like pet decks, their decks they've been playing for 18 years. Shout out Enye, you know what I mean? And they're just going to bring that because that's what they own. But online, you see some sick stuff. GGBO with Black Wings got top 8. Nothing to say about this. It looks very similar to Jan Dame's deck list. And then his opponent's deck list, which I'm trying to scroll to. I posted this with the matches, so it's like annoying because I have to pull up the deck list. Like, was it before or after this? RBT Orlando plug. Where's the fucking deck list? Oh, yeah. And Snack got top 8 as well. This was the first match of top 8 with Rescue Cat Plant Synchro. So that was cool. This was the first time Rescue Cat has top 8'd in RBET at all. It had not top 8'd in RBET up until this point. The deck list looks bricky as all hell. You've got Airbellums. You've got Avarice Titanial. You've got Chaos Sorcerer with only 4 lights and 4 or 5 darks, 6 darks. It's just a crazy deck. Cause like you have the high roll hands where it's like you start Lone Fire, Summoner Monk, whatever, and your deck is just godly powered. And then you have the other hands where it's like Airbellum, Avarice, Titanial, Caius, Chaos Sorcerer, maybe a Raikou. And it's just like, it's a mess. It's a mess. I played the deck a little bit afterward, and I found the Rescue Cat stuff to be so bad. I would draw like Monk Cat opening hand. I would draw double Airbellum, or I would draw like Cat and like one of my Airbellums would be gone, and I would need both of them to go for a double synchro play. There was just so many instances in which it was not good. Compared to like having quick draw in my deck where I can convert the Dandy immediately and set up for the Debris Dragon immediately, or having Card Trooper or those types of cards. That being said, the power level is kind of higher because you do just have this random Monk Cat play, which is really strong. It's also nice that Monk immediately makes your Avarice live. So if you go Monk, Cat into 2 monsters, it's 4 monsters, and the synchro you make is the 5th. So Monk's spell immediately turns on Avarice. So I was like, that's really good. But there's only 2 Avarice. So I was like, maybe you want a 3rd Avarice? I don't fucking know. Snack's the GOAT. Snack topped with this deck list. I don't fucking know how. First Cat deck list to top 8. Black Wings was her opponent in round 1. I believe she lost round 1 of top 8. I could be wrong. The next lists in top 8 were... I don't remember. This is the worst way to organize it. All right, next match. I don't fucking know, man. Oh, the next match was cool. It was Machina Lightsworn Roids. So it was like using Express Roid to buy back your Armor Roid to pitch to Reborn Fortress over and over and over again. List was very tight with big man in a small neighborhood. And then he played against best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA, who had a really tight list, which was like double Goldstark zombies with triple turtle and a shitload of one-of bombs. Like his sideboard is 13 one-of bombs. And in his main deck, he has like one of Miracle Fusion, one of Return, one of Mind Control, just like a ton of one-ofs. He was also playing the Future Fusion technology from Silchus Ruin. I do want to shout out best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA. I had a really cool interaction with him in real life. So I met him at YCS Pasadena, and he had flown all the way in from Hawaii to go to the event to just play an 8-mans for Edison. So he's a grinder. Like he will enter the tournaments, you know what I mean? He enters all the tournaments. And man, he was just so excited to be there. And when I got done talking to him, we were about to go play our side events. He comes back and we both had the lad mat and we both won our side events, and we were both just like ecstatic, and we were so happy to be there at that event, and like we had both won, and it was really sick. And so flash forward a year, one of my close friends from high school is like at a bar, and my close friend lives in Seattle, and he had flown into Vegas, and it was the same weekend as YCS Vegas. He calls me and he's like, hey, come to the bar. I'm in town. I'm like, all right. And so I went to the bar. I met up with them in the bar, and it was insane. He was there with best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA, who was in town from Hawaii. And I'm like, one of my close childhood friends is friends with best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA, who lives in Hawaii, and my close friend lives in Seattle, and I live in Vegas. And it was just like such a small world moment where I was like, how do you guys know each other? What the fuck? And then like, it was crazy because like my friend had known like my YouTube channel was like kind of cool, but like he just didn't know much about my YouTube channel. And it was like just a crazy like thing that like that guy like knew him, and like it was just such a small world moment. And they were all in Vegas for that one weekend, and they had decided to link up at a bar like without me knowing. It was so fucking crazy. That was fucking nuts. That was a crazy moment. So really cool story, and I'm super happy that he topped RBET. Because that's my boy, and I'm just proud that he topped. He loves zombies. He's a really good zombie duelist. He's a really nice guy. Just, I have nothing but good things to say about him, so I'm like happy he topped. His list is so cool too. His list is so fucking cool. I played it a couple of games, and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun playing it. I think this is like a really cool approach to deck building, where it's like, I have Goldstark, I can tutor for anything. I'm gonna put anything in my deck, you know. Really sick stuff. All right, who was his opponent in this round? Oh, it was the Express Roids. Yeah, I think the Express Roids moved on to top 4, if I remember correctly. And then, moving on. Who was it? This is Stevie, who was on Black Wings, and I believe Kozarski, who was on Hero Beat, Diva Hero Beat. Stevie, once again, with his triple upstart Black Wings. But do you remember that poll we talked about? Notice what he's added this time. That's right. That's right. He added brain control. So even though he won the tournament without brain control, he decided to add it back in. He got enough confused people asking him what the fuck that he decided to add it back in. And guess what? Guess what? He doesn't win the tournament. Maybe he should have played it without brain control. Maybe he should have cut the brain control. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. Yeah, opponent was playing Diva Hero Beat. I think he wins. I think Stevie wins if I remember correctly. I think he puts on a fucking hell of a showcase. If I remember, no, he might not win. I think Kozarski moves on. I could be wrong. I think he moves on. I'm not really sure. Anyway, the next one is Riptype versus GGBO. I believe Riptype was on, was it Machina? Or something? Oh, fucking no, man. Where are the deck lists, bro? This was so dumb. Why did I do this? This was so dumb. Oh, this was top 4 match. GGBO, Black Wings versus Expressoid. That's why I didn't show the list. I'm missing 2. Warlords topped this with Machina Lightsworn. Whatever, you guys get the idea. You can watch this video if you want to. Fucking, I'm not scrolling through this shit. Moving on, RBET Orlando. Yeah, RBET Orlando was awesome. Once again, like RBET Moreno Valley, room full of people who love Edison. Bunch of really awesome people came together for this event. Huge shout out to Jafaro, my co-commentator. He really, really went above and beyond to make sure this event happened. And I cannot thank him enough for working with me directly. That guy's a realist. That being said, at this point, in my mind, it is becoming harder and harder to enjoy these online tournaments because we have yet another event like this. You know what I mean? Yet another room full of people. I don't even know if I had a picture of it. I don't even know if I have a picture of it, but it is becoming harder and harder to go back to dueling book tournaments for me because dueling book tournaments are just so much more fucking boring than IRL tournaments. The viewership is worse. The IRL tournaments are super fun. You get to hang out with people and just have a big fucking party weekend. Joseph S. says, RBT Orlando is one of the highlights of my life, dude. The store was fantastic and the people were vibing. You loved it. Dude, meeting you was fucking awesome. You're such a cool dude. It was so much fun. It was a blast. I was working the whole time, but it was so much fun. I actually went to the store the night before just to meet up with people. I got to meet Snack. I got to meet a bunch of people. I met Corinna for the first time. I met Ryanide for the first time. I met Joseph S. for the first time. I met Rob the Man for the first time. I met so many people, and it was just so fucking awesome. Yeah, back to Ghost Rider for a second. I've been trying to meet Ghost Rider. I keep going out to LA. I'm like, eventually he's going to be at one of these tournaments, but every time he's signed up and then he doesn't show up. God damn it, Ghost Rider, I want to meet you, bro. You're like the one player. You're the one player who I follow you, and I'm like, I want to meet this motherfucker because he's correct. But yeah, I met a lot of really cool people. I got to formally meet Pizza. I got to formally meet a lot of the online people. Cameron was there the night before. Roundneck flew in from Ireland again, which is so based. Like, fucking dude, just such a crazy tournament. Anyway, let's get into the top 8. We had Vayu Turbo with a compulsory. This one is more like what you'd expect to see. Double Hamster, Spirit Reaper. 1 Royal Oppression main. We met at Raleigh. I signed your Krebins. So Raleigh, I don't remember much from Raleigh. And the reason I don't remember much from Raleigh is because I was going through a lot, and like I also wasn't sleeping well. So like I know I met a lot of people at Raleigh, and I just, for me, that event was harder on me mentally. I don't remember a lot of the people I met. And I was also like I was playing in the event, so I was like more focused on that. That event was like just a lot. You started playing more IRL lately in the SoCal area. What stores? I will literally come to the next local you play at, Ghost Rider. I want to duel against you. You're sorry about that. It's cool. It happens. That's just, I for some reason thought that was the first time I met you. Huh. But I definitely remembered Orlando. So that's all that matters. But yes. What is this? What's funny is I had met someone at Raleigh who I was working with on Orlando. And he was like, we met at Raleigh, and I felt really bad too about that too. There was a couple people I met who I didn't remember I met, but yeah. Norlaris has been opening Norlaris against you. Game 1. Deck might be good. It won European Nats. It's all good, Joseph. I mean, that's life. It just happens. You got to push through it, But I appreciate it. That means a lot. Yeah, Value Turbo, top 8. Not much to say about this list. He's got that Mind Crush and that Snowman Eater for the Diva Hero beat. Ways to hate that deck out. We had Diva... Oh, this is top 16. This is not top 8. Ignore this shit. We're skipping to top 8. Actually, we'll take a moment to appreciate Joseph's deck because he's here. Where's it at? There it is. This is Joseph S. Top 16 deck list. RBET Orlando, DD Warrior Lady Dragons. PogChamp. Very, very based. All right, moving on to top 8. I believe this is top 8. Okay, yeah. Top 8, Jordan's Blackwing deck list. Pretty standard. Stuff we've seen before. He has that Snowman Eater for heroes. Moving on. Nothing to say about here. Psychic Life Transfers, interesting choice. Definitely a budget inclusion, if you ask me. Or it might have just been a mistake in me copying it over when I copied the deck lists. I think it was a mistake now that I remember it. I think he was supposed to have something else. Diva Hero with the 1 main deck Raikou from Jason. I thought this was based. He had the E-Call and the Raikou just as additional starters. Like I mentioned in the earlier part of the video, the biggest weakness of Diva Hero is how few starters you play if you don't play E-Call and Raikou, or E-Call and whatever else. If you just play Rhoda, Stratos, and Future Fusion, you really only have 3 starters that are great. All your other starters are okay. But this list is very nice because it does have the full 3-star. Press 1 if I'm back. Press 1. Press 1 if you can hear me. Press 1 if you can hear me. You can hear me? Okay, you can hear me? All right, cool. Am I back? I'm back. Bruh. Oh, that's so frustrating. Not having fiber internet in Vegas is crazy annoying. Crazy annoying. The Blizzies actually did it. You guys actually saved the stream. Good job. Members, good job. Eric, nice try, but you're not a member yet. All right, what do we got? Where were we? Sorry about that, guys. That's always such a pain in the ass, especially in the middle of a stream. I need to figure that out. I might Ethernet up this bitch, but we'll see. Yeah, Raikou, starter in the list. What were we talking about? Were we talking about this list? What's up, Nicholas? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. We're so back. Oh, man. We're so back. I can't believe 38 of you stuck around. Y'all are the realest. Where were we? Where were we? We're so back. Thank you, Eric Shen, for your membership. Now, you will have the... What is it? Emotes. You summoned enough Blizzies to revive the stream. You did. Okay, let's talk about this deck. No, I'm done talking about this deck. It has a Raikou in it. Go crazy. All right, next deck. Machina Lightsworn. Top 8. Top 8. Didn't Eric win Orlando? Yeah, we're about to get there. We're about to get there. We're about to get to the Eric W at Orlando. Top 8. Machina Lightsworn. Edwin. Ed won some games. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shit. Absolutely cooked. What a fire-looking deck. Look at this. 3 ofs everywhere. 3 book. 3 compulse. It's still the internet screen? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh, it is? Bruh. How are you gonna do me like that? There we go. Is that better? Hold up. I gotta get the chat on. You gotta be fucking kidding me. You gotta be fucking... Why does it do that? Why does it just delete my OBS settings? Bruh. Huh? Why can't I pull up the chat anymore? Oh, there we go. It's up. It's up finally. Jesus fucking Christ. You really liked my co-host? You saved the clip of him saying you were quickly becoming his favorite chatter. That's based. That was Jafaro. That was Steven. He's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. He's a very, very big Vayu Turbo fan. So it was good for him that he won. This is the deck you lost to in top 16. It was crazy deck to deal with. Fortress just keeps coming back. Yeah, it's a really hard deck to deal with dragons. You have to have practice in the matchup. The matchup is hard. That's a hard matchup for dragons. You have to have DD. You have to save your DD Warrior Lady for the Machina Fortress, or save your banishes for the Fortress, but prioritize DD Warrior Lady because that's the best one. And then you also have to have an answer to the Raiko Kaias. And if he's only playing one hamster, it's tough because your Drago's not very good against him. So this is a tough matchup. This is a tough matchup for dragons. Knock can help. My Body's a Shield can help. Future Fusion obviously goes a very long way. If you can banish the Fortress, then you can outgrind Raiko Kaias. You just have to keep the Fortresses banished, and that's just the tough part. You 2-0'd him in round 8, then top 16 you played again, and he 2-1'd you. Yeah, he got the reversal. But yeah, I think the matchup isn't too bad. It was 2-1 due to your game loss. Yeah, I remember you had a deck list error, and that's what caused him to get the win over you. You would have had a third game. I think the matchup is tough. I don't think it's impossible by any means. Like, Drago still shuts off Hamster, Gorge, Trag, Plague. You still just, like, have a higher power ceiling than Machina in general. Wyvern is fucking crazy versus this deck because you just crash with Gear Frame and then you're up +1. You run over Raiko, you're up +1. So you have, like, so many ways to just, like, gain +1s. Exploder Dragon's an easy way to just clear a Fortress. A lot of decks don't have that. Future Fusion obviously is just an auto win. And Warrior Lady's a clean out Fortress. So it's not the hardest matchup, but they can have some draws that are, like, really tricky to navigate. His Compulse was putting back all your cards in your hand. Yeah, triple Compulse is good against dragons. For sure. Just because, like, the deck is way more normal summon reliant than it seems. But yes, this deck was cool. Edwin definitely topped with it. And got his invite with it. I think this was his first top. And it was cool to see a list this max 3 of, just like, fuck it, I'm playing 3 Compulse. Fuck it, I'm playing 3 book. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, just max everything. You two are a triple Compulse enjoyer. You are Ryanite. I know you were the one who put me onto it, but DLW20, I guess you were talking about him and how he had innovated that and you took it from him. It's just cool to see, like, people innovate certain things and then see it move forward. I think Compulsory is fucking insane in this deck if you open Gear Frame. Like, if you open Gear Frame Compulsory, it's very hard to lose. I'll say that much. If we compare this to the decks that topped at Deck Devastators 3, so let's look at the decks that topped Deck Devastators 3. We had Sheldon's list with no Compulsory and only 2 books, only 2 Kaias, and the full 3 Hamster. And then you look at the list from Orlando. I feel like the list from Orlando looks way more tuned, way less normal summon reliant. It has the key piece of interaction, which is Compulsory. It has triple book. It just make sure your Fortress never gets banished, basically. Triple Kaias, make sure you can clear Battle Recruiters. Battle Recruiters are the bane of this deck's existence. Yeah, let's look at the other 5th place list from from DDV. This one had like the main deck Dyna, only one Caius. He was on triple Warrior Lady. Once again, another way to clear battle recruiters. But it does take you can't clear a recruiter plus a D prison with Warrior Lady, whereas it immediately gets cleared by Caius. I don't know. But this list looks more similar to the one we saw in top 8 of Orlando. But I do really like the Orlando list. The triple compulsory, triple avarice, just fucking 3-0s. So, yeah, absolutely crushing it. Ace of Spades says it was Soul. It wasn't Soul. It wasn't Soul. It was other players before him. Where was I going with all this? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, deck looks based. Lightning Vortex on the side, cash money. Deck just looks good. Looks solid. Very solid top from Edwin. Moving on. Pizza. Norlaris. The first Norlaris top of the season. And it happened at the last qualifying event. RBET Orlando. And it's 45 cards. What do you guys think? Optimal or not? I'm going to ask the chat. Optimal? Is it optimal? You just went 2-1 with this list like 10 minutes ago? Interesting. Interesting that you would say such a thing. At your local? That's pretty good. You thought he topped Moval as well? Not with Norlaris. I don't think. Did he top Moval? Am I just being stupid? Flashback to Moval. I don't think he did. He might have top 16, but he didn't top 8. Oh no, he did. He did. Did he? Hold up. Did we skip over that somehow? Did he top with a different deck? He might have topped with a different deck. He was going to play Diva Hero, and you cooked him when you played last in this game. He topped with Diva Hero, right? He topped with Diva Hero, right? What did he top with? I don't remember what he topped with. I think it was Diva Hero, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what he topped with. But yeah, I think he did top Moval. He must have been one of the names. He had a top 8 Moval mat. He does have the mat. He does have the mat. I think he was the first player. No, he played Norlaris in Orlando. He top 8'd in Orlando, but in Moval did he top 8 with Norlaris. He topped with like zombies. I know he topped with Norlaris last year. But I don't know if he topped this year with Norlaris. Didn't top Moval. Oh, he might not have topped. He might not have topped Moval. I don't think he did. I think he just had the mat. I think he borrowed the mat. He borrowed Majid's mat. Okay, that's what it was. That's what it was, yeah. Okay, yeah. That makes sense, yeah. So yeah, he just had the mat to flex on people. The mats are gorgeous, by the way. So what's crazy is that at Orlando, the mats were what everyone wanted. They were literally like, people were like, the dark end's cool, but I just want the mat. There was someone who was offering, I think he was offering $1,500 for the mat, and nobody wanted to sell it. That's how sick the mats were. That's how nice they were. They are so fucking clean. Yggdrasil Materials crushed the mats. They look so good. I think one of them sold at Moval for, I think it was $600. And then at Orlando, people were offering like over $1,000 and nobody was selling. I think Rob the Man recently got his framed and it looks amazing. Speaking of Rob the Man, we're moving on to the next few deck lists, but pizza topping with Norlaris. I think 45 cards is like, it makes sense in this deck because you have so much draw power. But I think you could find 5 cuts. I don't think you need 45 cards. I think you could cut like do you really need? Maybe you need these numbers for the Lightsworn and the Norlaris engine, but I feel like you could play this deck with like 1 less Vayu, 1 less Sirocco. You don't need Necrogarna. Maybe cut the Chaos Sorcerer or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like you don't need to... There's like... You could find 5 cuts here, but I could be wrong. Maybe you don't need Burial either. They are coveted for sure an important part of the rise of Edison. They're like... Yeah, they are like a historical artifact. They're like something that only exists in these like small moments in time. They have a cool story behind them too. Yeah, Black Wings, top 4, Murray. Murray is my GOAT. Another day 1 player. Murray was literally in the Discord when I was in the Discord and we were playing the first day. He was one of the first people I played against. Edison documentary win. That'd be hype. What's up, Cloudfarer? How are you doing? Murray's actually nasty. It's funny because the night before Murray, I was like, should I just play Black Wings or should I play like, I think, what was the other deck? I don't know if he's still here, but he's like, should I just play Black Wings or should I play like, I think it was like Glads or some shit. And I was like, play Black Wings, dude. Don't play Glads. And we tested. We played 3 matches and I beat him 3-0 with Quick Draw. And I don't know. I just beat the shit out of him that night and he got all his bad luck out. He got all his bad luck out the night before in our testing games. And the next day he just crushed. I think he went like 7-1 in Swiss. He obviously won his top 16 game. He just had a great tournament. The Legacies, the main deck Dust Tornado, he said were really clutch for him. He was happy about every card in his deck. He had a cool sideboard too with the Mind Control and the Double Knock. So it's like 3 ways to answer a set monster in the opener, which is pretty nice. Double Dyna, double Cyber Dragon, no bullshit, triple Rug, you know. Double Compulsory, also a really strong sideboard card. So this looks to me like what I expect Blackwing lists to look like nowadays. Like if I go up against a Blackwing list, this is the list I expect to see. The only difference I expect sometimes is I expect a Compulsory over the Dust Tornado. But like usually this is like when I see Blackwings from my opponent, these are the first 40 cards I assume. Because this is like the most like, I feel like this is the closest to optimal Blackwings is going to get for the original like 2010 style lists. Whereas I think that the hybrid lists are crazy just because they aren't this, if that makes sense. But this is like a very classic what you'd expect Blackwing list. It's not like a there's no crazy enemy controller or like noblemans or like whatever in the main, no Greffer, no Morphing Jar, but good shit. All right, next. Obviously, Rob the Man, top 4. Chaos Dragon deck. He was undefeated in Swiss, 8-0 with this deck. What to say? This was an incredible story for the tournament. This was a really cool deck to And Rage Pico says, what's the reason for the life transfer? It was an issue for me when I uploaded the decks because I used a Blackwing template when entering their decks, and so I misinputted the extra deck when I entered the deck lists. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Chaos Dragons. Yeah, Rob the Man, Chaos Dragons. I love Rob. One of my favorite people I met. He's a local player. He's one of the strongest players in the region. I have nothing but good things to say about Rob, and he kind of crushed it with his deck list. It's just all fucking strong as shit cards. Where's the Ojama list? Keck? That's funny, yeah. Ojama got 0th place, actually. It did even better than the first place list. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Rob's list was nice with it. The only thing is, I don't like this list. Even though I just got done saying it was amazing, I personally would never play this list, but it is tight. It is tight. Like, I do like the Warrior Lady list a little bit more, just because I think Warrior Lady is better than Raikou. But this list does get to play a little bit more of those, like, quote-unquote good cards, like Caius. But I think playing less than 3 Drago really takes the wind out of the sails for a deck like this for me. Joseph says, he's the only player that utterly destroyed you. He FTK'd you game 1 of round 6. You made Redman, he stole it, and went off with his own dragons. That's disgusting. That's actually disgusting. Yeah. I know, I think this list is very good. I think it was amazing for the tournament that people didn't know what was in it, so they like couldn't prep for it. I think it has good matchups across the board because of Drago. If I was him, I would have I would have mained more Dragos. Yeah, Cloud Pharaoh makes a good point. It's way too good to only play at one, and I agree with that. I would have played 3 Dragos. Like, that's the biggest change I would have made, is I just would have... Like, I would never play this deck with less than 3 Dragos. The card's just so fucking stupid. It, like, literally shuts out all the top decks in the format. It shuts out Blackwings, it shuts out Fayu, it shuts out Zombies, it shuts out fucking Fairies, it shuts out other Dragon decks, so... it shuts out Diva Hero for the most part, except for literally Miracle Fusion. They can't Diva into Gilman, make any of the synchros except for Gishilnadon, which everybody's cut because they don't respect dragons for some reason. Yeah, this deck was crazy good for the tournament. His list was crazy tuned. All the cards looked amazing. I just, like, if I personally play this deck, I would play multiple Dragos, but I got to add my own opinion because that's the only way to do it. But I think this list is fucking nice. It's nice with it. Yeah, pushes through Gorse, Strike Vader, yeah. It has to be answered immediately. It runs over Hamster for value. Like, not many cards can attack over Hamster at +1. I think it might be the only card besides, like, Vanity's Fiend and Christia that attack over Hamster for +1, which is crazy to say that. Technically, Vanity's Ruler as well. All right, moving forward. But I'm, like, of the commonly played cards, there's only 3 that attack over Hamster at +1. And it's the only one that can consistently do it turn 1 as well. Moving on. Blackwings, second place. Andrew. This was actually his first Edison tournament. Triple upstart with brain control, so apparently you guys are right. It is optimal. Kappa. Sideboard had double My Body as a Shield, double Skill Drain. Really unique sideboard. All the continuous stuff in the sideboard. In the main deck, elected to go for Compulse plus Starlight Road instead of the Floodgates. But once again, not much to say about this list that we haven't said about the previous ones. Cool list, though. I do like Grammel. I think Grammel is one of those cards that, like, more and more people should play. You feel me? Like, I feel like Grammel is just a really busted limited bomb in this format. And it does, like, it helps you when you already have stuff going on. And Blackwings always has stuff going on. So I think Grammel's a good card for this deck. I think it's, like, very slept on. Grammel's fucking incredible. Yeah, it's, like, one of the few cards that attacks into Absolute Zero at +1. It outs Stardusts. It outs Titanial. It just helps you deal with, like, dumb shit. It's, like, one of the best cards in the format that people just aren't playing that much of. And then, of course, first place list. Are you still here, Eric? Still here, Eric? Eric, tell me a little bit about your list. Why do we got 41 cards? What is the logic behind 41 here? Could you just not think of what to cut? Vayu Turbo, first place from Eric Shen. The first Vayu Turbo win in an RBET qualifying event this entire season was at RBET Orlando. And it was in the hands of Eric Shen. Very strong player. He was a treat to watch on stream. Absolutely knew his stuff. Chaos Sorcerer, solid tech. Spirit Reaper, solid tech. You want a higher trap ratio for your opening hands, and you're opening way too many double Vayus. I feel that way too. I feel like opening double Vayu is like one of the worst ways, one of the worst things that could happen in this deck. And so just like diluting the double Vayu chances is honestly not a bad call, and it worked out really well for you. Ended up winning the entire event. You won the Shonen Jump Dark End, and you earned the very last gifted invite to RBET Rulers this season. So that's a recap of the year. So like kind of the narrative is like Rulers ended and it was like a lot of fairies, a lot of anti-Blackwing tech. Deck Devastators happened, fairies, dragons, frogs, some Blackwings, some Machina kind of on the rise. RBET 1, once again, no Blackwings. Still very anti-Blackwing tech, with Frog Burn making its debut appearance, the second top for Christia Sworn, and the first top for this double DD Crow style zombie list. RBET 2, Return of the Blackwings. There was 4 Blackwings in top 8. So first part of the season, no Blackwings. Second part of the season, everyone forgets Consecrated Light as a card that they can put in their sideboard. And yeah, the Blackwings return. RBET IRL Fullerton, kind of heroes showing up because of the popularity of heroes in the season, in the area, and a lot of hybrid Blackwings. 3 hybrid Blackwings in top 8, 0 regular Blackwings. The most stacked tournament, kind of like light RBET Rulers, with Frog Hero taking down the whole thing. The championship in Italy, which, again, I'm not sure if these are the top 8 deck lists off the top of my head. It does say top 16 here, so I'm not sure if these are the top 16 deck lists or the top 8 deck lists. But almost entirely Blackwings. Once again, Italy is a very Blackwing heavy region. That and, just like people forgot Consecrated Light's a real card. And then we get back-to-back wins from Dragon Turbo after it not showing up at all whatsoever. In the first half of the year. So no Dragon Turbo for 6 months. People forgot about it, forgot it even existed. People started cutting the hate for it. And then it wins back-to-back events. So a bit of a storyline shift. We went from a lot of people hating out Blackwings to a lot of Blackwings to back-to-back Dragon Turbo wins because people aren't hating this out. Then we get to RBET 4, which was, I believe... What won this one? Do we remember? I think Blackwings won this. I think Blackwings won RBET 4. So back to Blackwings. And then RBET Orlando, Vayu Turbo with some dragons. Some dragon storyline there as well. And then that's it. So where we're at right now is... people need to side more for Blackwings and then also think about dragons, I think. RBET Rulers is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be... You're saying your pick is Christius Horn with Decree mained or Vayu Turbo with 2 Oppression mained. 4 was the one that had the Machineroid list. Yes, it was also the one with the first Rescue Cat top 8. There's been a lot of, just fucking, fringe shit, top 8ing, Neospatian, Rescue Cat plants, just fucking... Joseph says Dragon Turbo might take Rulers. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think people prep for it too much. It depends on if Pro Storm's playing or not. Once again, I have to say what I say every time there's a video like this. Fairies won last year because of the positioning in the metagame. Fairies is good against Blackwings. Fairies is good against Diva Hero. Fairies is good against zombies. If those 3 are the most popular decks like they were last year, Fairies is the best pick to win the tournament. By far. Either that or you just play Blackwings and have a nut draw. So I feel like my 2 picks to win this tournament would be Fairies or Blackwing. Fairies also, let's say a bunch of people just decide to bring Dragon Turbo for no fucking reason. Fairies also has probably the best matchup into Dragon Turbo, as long as you have Thunder Kings. So I think, matchup spread-wise, Fairies should be the favorite to win the tournament. If that's the case. But if enough of the top players recognize that, and enough of the top players bring Fairy, then I think the actual pick would be Quick Draw. Because I think Quick Draw does really well versus heroes. It does poorly versus Blackwings, but if enough people are off Blackwings because they don't want to get metagamed, Quick Draw does pretty well versus Fairies. And Quick Draw also beats the shit out of Frogs. So I think Quick Draw might be a good pick. If I was going into this tournament, the pick would probably be Fairies for me or Blackwings for me. But I think... Yeah, I think it's either Fairies or Blackwing, just based off of, what I expect the metagame to be. But I don't know. Fairies does have a weakness. It has a weakness to heavy discard trap hero frog. I think that matchup is just not very positive for Fairies. And I think the biggest difference between last year and this year is the amount of top players that are kind of they're kind of one-tricking Hero Frog. there are at least 2 or 3 players entering RBET rulers that one-trick Hero Frog. And those players are going to have a good time if Fairies is the #1 most played deck. So deck dev is so easy to pull off with Value Turbo too. It's decently easy, yeah. Jinzo Future Fusion will win. I don't think anyone will pick it. That's the issue. It's like, I'm talking about what I think people will actually play. Ryan Knight says the answer is whatever Pro Storm is playing. Probably true. But again, I think if there's enough people on Hero Frog, then that deck has chances. I think that's like one of the best decks in the format. It's like up there for me. It's like top 5, top 6 decks in the format. Maybe top 10. I don't know. It just depends. Ace of Spades says there's a 0% chance Fairy will be the most played deck. True. But there were more Christia decks than Blackwing decks in the top 8 of last RBT rulers. I know it won't be the most played deck, but if more than just Pro Storm picks it up, is what I'm saying. I think the deck beats the shit out of Blackwings. So, like, if you expect a heavy Blackwing bracket, like, there was one other tournament I wanted to bring up. Let's go to this. Videos. It's a top 8 video. I don't know, maybe you guys remember it. I think it was from... I don't remember when it was. I just had it opened, like, not that long ago. But there was a comment on one of the videos. Let's see, where is it? How long ago was August? I think it was in August this year. I could be wrong. I remember the thumbnail, but I don't know where the deck is. It's before all this. It was like one of the first like IRL tournaments that was like 90 players or something like that. 97 players. I wanted to talk about it in this video too, or in this stream, because there was a guy who got second place at this tournament. It was a 97 person tournament. Oh, here it is. Okay. 95 players. My bad. I believe it was 95. 2 of the people dropped or some shit like that. Let me refresh the sheet. Okay. So there was, this tournament was crazy because Glad's top 8'd it. This was not an RBET qualifying tournament. This was just a 95 player PS5 tournament. I wanted to bring it up because a Fairy player got second. And he commented on the video. I gotta find it. I gotta find the comment. Here he is. Ethan Guti got top 8. He got second place. He said he beat Vincent in Swiss and lost him in the finals. He played against Blackwings every match of the tournament. So he played 10 rounds versus Blackwings, and he went 9-1 with Fairies versus Blackwings. Like, that's crazy. That's insane. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's not very many good players that you'll play against that will say Fairies doesn't beat Blackwings. So if you expect a lot of Blackwings, this is just the best deck by far. Like, if you expect all Blackwings and Value Turbo, then Fairies is easily the pick. Playing same matchup every round is insane. It's particularly insane because out of all of my tournament matches over the last year and a half, I've played against Blackwings exactly twice. And he played against 10 at the same event. Incredible bracket luck. Playtest RL says, will RBET rulers be IRL? No. No, it will not be. What's up, Playtest IRL? How you doing today? But yeah, I wanted to bring this up because, like, basically what I'm saying is, like, if you get like what happened in RBET rulers last year where everyone was like, I'm just going to take Blackwings, just show up with Fairies and just beat the whole bracket. Like, that's pretty much all you need. Like, if you think about it, like, even the best Blackwing draws, like double Whirlwind, you can beat it with just Christia Honest, as long as you can set that up. Christia Honest does beat double Whirlwind. So, like, there are setups in Fairy that beat even the absolute best Blackwing draws, which not many decks can boast, I guess. Amaryllis Burn is your sleeper pick. I think Amaryllis Burn is a good pick. It didn't top any RBETs this year, though. It did top Nats, which did give an invite. So technically, yeah, I think top 4 of Nats I gave invites to. So, or was it top 8? I don't fucking remember. They got invites, basically. So, Amaryllis did earn 1 invite, but it didn't top any of the RBETs all year. It is a good deck. I think Amaryllis Burn's just a little inconsistent. And I think it has some bad matchups versus fairies. Nah. What's my 2024 Edison plans? Great question, Danny. Let's kind of segue into that. 2024 Edison plans. Don't trust a deck with a bad Blackwing matchup. Yeah, I think Quick Draw is like an insane metagamed pick, but I don't think it's gonna do well because of the Blackwing matchup. It did top 2 RBTs this year though, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. All right, RBT 2024 plans. I'll do a little bit of a leak. Minimum 4 IRL RBETs. Minimum. I might do 5. Max 5, maybe 6, but most likely it's gonna be 4. Where was I? I was somewhere here. Okay, yeah. Online RBETs, 2 EU friendly. Maybe 1 US. Maybe. I want RBET. Let me just make this a bit wider so I have room to work with. I want RBET to be more in person. And I cannot stress this enough. It is so much better in person. It is like the game was never meant to be played online. The game was never meant to be played on Dueling Book. And meeting up in person is like, it's just so much, on so many levels, it's so much better. So right now, I can tell you what I'm working on. You said you're on a sabbatical for a little bit. That's a shame. Hopefully soon 2024 rulers. I'm getting to that. Right now, I am talking about a few things. This is a bit of a leak. So for the 48 of you that are here, you're going to get some inside info. The places I'm currently negotiating. Moreno Valley is pretty much locked. This is happening for sure. I can guarantee you Moreno Valley is happening. Working on for sure. Where is it going? Eric says online is so much better. It's so much more hype. The average viewer would disagree with you. Just because if you look at the viewership, like, let's just look at this. The most recent ones, we have RBET Orlando top 6. Well, this is the top 16. Let me click on the fucking stream. Let me just click on the stream. Oh, shit. 12,000 views. And then if you go to season 2, this is the top 8 and the top 8 deck list combined, and it only has 8,000 views. That's two-thirds. Two-thirds the viewership. Two-thirds the viewership is crazy. That is so much less. Most people do not like online tournaments compared to IRL tournaments. IRL tournaments hits a much wider audience. It is definitely so much more hype in person. And it's crazy. It's just crazy that online is so much worse. IRL is so much better. I think you might have. That's it. Is that a typo, Eric? Did you mean to say IRL is better? You said online is so much better. You said it the opposite way. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, that sounds like a typo. That sounds like a typo. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. You want to go to an IRL so bad. So Moreno Valley's happening for sure. Let's get that one down. Maryland is basically locked. Maryland is basically locked. I need to sort out one or two things, but Maryland's gonna be, I believe, let me do this. Maryland Valley almost confirmed. There you go. Cool. So Maryland is going to be, I believe, 500 capacity 2-day event. I need to get verification on this. But I've confirmed with the venue availability. I've confirmed with the team I'm working with. And I've confirmed with a few other people. Basically, all of the stuff that needs to be confirmed is confirmed. I just need to get the dates locked in. So right now what I'm working on with Maryland is just getting the dates locked in. So this is going to be the first like really, really big one. I believe it's 500 capacity. It might be a bit more. Might be a bit more. We'll figure it out. Okay, so in the works. So these are in the works, but not confirmed. I've had offers from New York, Orlando, Vegas, and Texas. These and Oregon. These are the ones that I'm still working on. But I'm not sure which I'm gonna end up going with, which I'm gonna end up doing, what works best for the yearly schedule, etc., etc. And then another thing I'm working on is I don't know if we're gonna hold on, put in parentheses, not sure if all 5 or only 2. So right now I need to figure out my life and a few other things. And then also I'm waiting for some emails back from some of these people. I'm waiting for some correspondence from a venue in Vegas. I would love to do Vegas because it's my home. It would be the easiest one to do. Plus people love Vegas. Like, it's easy to fly in and out of Vegas. There's lots of cool things to do, even if you scrub. Like, there's lots of cool shit happening. Vegas means I could work with the same team from SoCal. So, from Vegas, just host it out of my living room. Little Kappa. Vegas too easy. So I'm waiting for, I have a meeting with a venue in Vegas. I'm trying to get a venue that fits our price range and also can accommodate what we need. And I'm not sure. So that's what I'm waiting on from Vegas. From some of the other ones, I'm just waiting on like correspondence and stuff and to get back to me. And it's just a lot of technical shit. Like, a lot goes into putting on these events. I'll just say it. A lot goes into this. I didn't realize it until I started putting them on. So a lot of them got, there's a lot of work going into these last, making sure some of these other ones can happen. So I'm going to delete this because they're all tentative. I don't know which of these are going to be, I don't know if any of these are going to work out, but I can guarantee you for sure Moreno Valley is happening and Maryland is happening. I can guarantee you that those two are happening as of right now. I just need to solidify dates for Maryland. I'm hoping to have all of the dates by the end of the year. So if you guys need to book travel, if you guys need to like figure out, like obviously travel accommodations, that sort of stuff, you need to book flights, you need to figure stuff out. I'm hoping to have the whole schedule ready by the end of December. So you'll have at least, I want to say 3 to 4 months to plan flights, plan hotels, plan everything, and it'll save you the most money, basically. So I'm hoping to get that all figured out by the end of December. That being said, there may be 1 or 2 later in the year that I won't have ready by the end of December, but that is I'm working really hard to make sure that happens. And then the next thing is RBET rulers next year. We haven't really figured this out yet. So like, this is something that I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit behind the scenes shit, all right? basically behind the scenes, what I really like is I like the model that Pokemon does, where it's like they have a world championships, and if you win one of their major events, you get a flight, basically. I think it would be cool, although probably not gonna happen this next season. Would be cool, but very uncertain. It would be cool if RBET rulers IRL and winners get flight plus travel to RBET rulers. That would be really sick. Big issues arise with this. Big issues arise with this. Complications with sanctioning the tournaments. So I can't work with OTS stores because if you're giving away cash prizes, Konami doesn't work with you. And it can actually put your OTS in jeopardy. So it might be undoable to do this. It might be undoable. Like it might be something that we can't. Undoable is not the right word. It might be something we can't do because of that. But this is something I think is a really cool model, and I think because once again, the IRL shit is so fucking sick. It is so fucking sick. It is so much cooler. It is so much more hype. It is so much better than the online fucking bullshit. Like, if I never had to play a game on Dueling Book ever again, I would be happy. Like, I wouldn't give a shit. I wouldn't miss it. But if you told me I couldn't go to an IRL tournament, I would be very sad. It would make me a sad person. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. Is like, Dueling Book is like, we only do it because we have to. You know what I mean? It's not because we want to do this. So, I don't know if that's going to happen. It would be epic prize. It would be really cool. But, again, there's complications with Konami, and there's complications with just getting everyone on board for that, and like there's just differences. Challenge can't ruin the tournament IRL. Yeah, exactly. Tournaments, it's just better IRL. It's just better. I'm fucking playing paper Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the way that Kazuki Takahashi wanted us to play the game. So that's the way we're gonna try to play it the most next year. Realistically, next year, RBET rulers will be online again. Realistically. But Dream World, it's not. I don't know. We still need to figure that out. We haven't really figured that out yet. That's just something that's in the works. A couple other things. Yggdrasil will be returning for the top 8 mats. So I will be working with Yggdrasil again. Once again, unique mat designs for top 8 of the IRL RBETs. Everyone will have a unique design. So, PogChamp. Once again, we will be working on that in tandem. There will be unique ones for each event. I should say. Yggdrasil the GOAT, yes. Yggdrasil Materials, all right there, full. They're the GOATs. They're actually really, really good. So, that's gonna be, that's confirmed so far. But basically, online, I want to do as little as possible, but I still want to make sure EU gets catered to. As far as throwing an EU RBT, so let me do that next. Okay, EU RBT. As of right now, I have no confirmed venue. I have very few contacts in EU who are willing to work with me and can support the size of tournament that I want to throw. But I would be open to Italy. Oh, I gotta resize this shit. Would be open to Italy or Germany. I think these two countries would be perfect. Mostly because Italy and Germany have had big Edison tournaments before. So I know at the very least we'll be hitting somewhere between 150 to 200 players. So at the very least it'll be big. I hit up Joshua Schmidt. I think I did. I don't remember if I did. We haven't talked since the RBET we hosted. Sometimes I reply to his tweets, but he kind of leaves me on red. So I'll hit him up again. Nab says I should do Orlando again. Was hype. We'll see. We'll see about Orlando. I might do Orlando again. I might. We'll see. That's kind of one of the ones that's like up in the air. But it depends on the rest of the schedule. I would like to do one in EU, but it's been difficult. That's it. It's just been difficult to do one in the EU because I also don't speak Italian or German, and those are the countries I want to throw one in. I could throw one in the UK, but I don't know how many players would come to that, and I don't know. It just, for me personally, wouldn't be as hype. I'd want to throw it and have like that'd be a cool one for me to like host with someone whose like native language is that of the country, and they could like teach me the language on the stream or some shit like that. Like it'd be fucking hype. It'd be fucking cool, you know? To have like multicultural RBET would be really sick, especially because Italy and Germany are so popping in the scene. Matthew Kozarski says New York. If you rewind the stream, you'll see what the 5 locations. I'm not leaving it up on the screen because I don't want people to think that like they're confirmed, because they're not. The only ones on the screen are the 2 that I have confirmed so far. These are my plans for next year. The plans that I can at least tell you about. There are some other things that I have planned that I can't really tell you about. And then there's one more thing for the end of the year that I want to tell you guys about. I guess I'll just write it here. December 16th, 2024 or 2023. I will be at Xanadu for an Edison tournament. I'm going to Xanadu, which is in Maryland, for an Edison tournament on December 16th this year. It is also my birthday. So it's going to be Edison tournament / birthday bash for your boy. A lot of top players are going. Couple of streamers are going. I'm going. And it's just going to be a good time. So if you guys want to come hang out with me on my birthday, come play some Edison. December 16th, 2023 at Xanadu Games, which is going to be really fun. So, yeah, I can confirm that that's happening. I've got the flight confirmation and everything. So, yeah, that's definitely happening this year. So that's going to be kind of like the end of the year thing. I know normally we don't do an Edison tournament in December because the season kind of ended, but this is kind of a fun, it's kind of a fun, like, end of the year, like, we had a great Edison year, let's party together a little bit. I'll probably be realistically partying, so if you guys want to party, like, you know, I'm not going to say more than that, but, like, I'm going to be partying, so I might play a fucking meme deck, you know, who knows? I might do some crazy shit that I wouldn't normally do. Who knows? You know what I mean? It's just going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So if you want to come party with your boy, come through Xanadu Games on December 16th. So that's the end of this year. That's kind of my plans for everything. Just got you guys informed. All the new members, be sure to check out the members-only videos you now have access to. Exactly. Enraged Peacock. Reminding the people. I'll also be dropping a members-only video, I believe, sometime tomorrow. Time to dust off the ancient gears. Yeah, maybe. I might bring ancient gear. Who knows? Who knows? I might just play fairies. Who knows? I could just be a one trick. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. I might dust off dragons too. We'll see. I haven't played dragons in a tournament in like a year. But we'll see. We shall see. It's going to be a fun time. Thank you everyone for tuning into the stream. Thank you for those of you who stuck around to the end. Even though my internet crashed, you guys are the real ones. I'll see you guys in the next one. And this weekend for RBET Rulers.